Hey, how's it going? Happy Saturday, man. Thank you, Thank you so much for right off the bat. There was subs and follows, so I really appreciate it. Happy Saturday. How's everyone doing? I'll get to them here in a second. Hope everyone's doing good. Hope you had a good week. Hope the weather is good for you. I know that, man, this week seems full of good news with, I don't know, lots of good things going on, I guess. And also, nice weather across the United States, at least if you're here. Pretty good weather. We're getting unseasonably warm weather over the last week or so. So that's pretty awesome. I'm super excited, along with vaccines and everything. Lots of good news. Lots of good things to look forward to. I'm happy about that. So man, thank you so much first of all for being here. Appreciate it. Really appreciate it. How's everyone doing? What are you guys working on? I know I got a ton of stuff in the pipeline, but I'm sure you guys got a million times more. So yeah, let me know what you're working on. Let me know if you have any questions or anything I can help you with. I know I push out some content and some things are either left unsaid or confusing. So absolutely here to help. Or if you just want to talk about tech in general, we can do that too. So a couple of things. Let's zoom up here. Still getting used to this, a little bit of a new format. But let's see. First of all, I'm going to call out the subs first. Morvia, thanks for the resub, tier 1, 4 months, 4-month streak. And dude, PC Geek, gifted 3 tier 1 sub. Dude, thank you so much. Appreciate it, man. How you doing? So man, how are you? How's it going? Thanks again for everything you do and all your help. So let's now answer there were a couple follows right before, during. Paytrick, hey, Paytrick, I like it. Hey, thanks for the follow, appreciate it, welcome. Mr. Keycode, hey, thanks for the follow, appreciate it, welcome. Daniel Zhang, it looks like, thanks for the follow, appreciate it, welcome. And it looks like there was one more, Gorkin, actually there were a couple more. Gorkin, thanks for the follow, appreciate it, if you're here, welcome. And M Dark, I gotta get this right, M Dark Kazano. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. I probably slaughtered that name, but I apologize. Who was here first? Well, according to here, it was my bot, but it doesn't count. First one here, Ilude first. Man, combo breaker on PC Geek. I think he got his combo broken last time though. Thanks for being here, being first. Ilude, thank you so much, dude. Thanks for all you do. Appreciate it. Looks like you got quite the home improvement stuff going on, at least according to Discord, and your pictures and getting carpet and all kinds of stuff set up. Look like a TV Roku this morning. He's knocking out the home projects early today. Not me, not so much. My morning was just filled with just a bunch of editing for the next one, which is it's gonna be tomorrow. I'll just tell you, it's tomorrow. I think it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's not too much. I'm not going to spoil it, but it'll be tomorrow. So I've been furiously working on that. Got my quick one out this week. But anyways, what's everyone up to? I feel like this is super bright, and maybe it's just because I've been like in the dark all morning and afternoon so far. I've had like all the lights off except for the screen. I usually do that when I edit. So, but let's see. Oh my gosh, CR4. I'm going with that. Cracks. I'm going with Cracks. Nice. How's it going? Nora, hey, how have you been? Oh, hi. How's it going? Home Lab New, Stream Hype, man. How'd your move back to the UK go? Hopefully pretty good. Looks like pretty good. Hopefully you're doing well, man. PC Geek, yeah, man. I wasn't sure if you're going to make it, but yeah, you made it, dude. Appreciate it. What are you working on this weekend? I asked PC Geek. Probably breaking stuff. That is always true. At least with me. I'm pretty good at breaking stuff. Lately, I've been a little bit better. Maybe that's because I'm starting to really understand a lot of things that I'm working on. Kind of the ins and outs. But yeah, it's no fun if you're not breaking anything. If everything goes smooth, then you run out of things to do. That's what I learned, and then I start creating projects for me. So it's okay to break stuff because then you get to fix them. Let me turn this down just a tiny bit. I feel like I'm getting like blasted out. Maybe that's a little bit better. Got the shine on my nose. One time someone's like, "What's that white thing on your nose?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? What's on my nose?" It was the glare. So anyways, probably breaking some stuff. Yeah, that's quite okay. Well, there, handsome blurry home labber. Hey, how's it going? Dow Cola. How are you? I think it's Dow. I don't know if it's Dow or Doa Cola, but how have you been, man? Haven't seen you in a while. I mean, I've seen you posting in Discord, but haven't seen you in the stream, so I appreciate it, man. How are you? Dr. CTL, how's it going? Good to see you. Still fixing Windows VMs RAM problems. LOL. Cracks. Man, that's tough. What are your RAM problems? Because those are tough to track down, tough to troubleshoot, and tough to identify too. I've very few times in my life have I been like, yep, it's this stick of RAM. And the only way I've known is to like pull every stick out, put only that stick in, and then realize that either it won't boot, won't recognize it all, or just tons of errors. And that's been, it's been rare. So man, that's you've already done the hard part if you've identified it as RAM errors, because it takes a long time to get to that point. What? Oh man, 1K sender? There's probably lead speak in there. I apologize. 1K sender. I'm going with that. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. Also, I got just say real quick. I know. So I'm a huge fan of Traefik, and I got a Traefik shirt. They sent me a Traefik shirt. They actually sent it to me a couple of months ago, and it was in the closet. And actually, it was on a pile of stuff. And then I found it again on my desk on Thursday, and I was like, yeah, maybe I'll wear that for the stream. So anyways, I'm a huge fan of Traefik. If you don't know what Traefik is, it's a network tool, cloud native, so made for Kubernetes, but it also works with Docker and outside of Docker and stuff like that. But really a containerized network stack that's pretty awesome. And they sent me a t-shirt and they sent me some stickers. So I was like, yeah, I'll wear the shirt, but I'm a huge fan of it. Been doing a ton with Kubernetes and Traefik. I've done that for a long time. And actually the last couple of days I've been doing it for Docker as well, which is pretty awesome. Because, I've said this a few times, but I run both, plain old Docker, as well as Portainer. And then I also run Rancher for all my Kubernetes stuff. And so now I'm running Traefik in Kubernetes as well as plain old Docker. And it's actually pretty fun. It's actually a lot easier in plain old Docker, like most things are. Like anything you can think of that's, one versus many. The one is usually going to be easier than the many, and so, but pretty cool. Anyways, so that's enough about my Traefik shirt. I'm a fan. Cheat 95, playing with WireGuard. Nice. Yeah, I've done some playing with WireGuard too. It's pretty cool. Like I'm not, it's an awesome technology. I hope the technology continues to grow, and I hope that they, continue, or someone, either another open source project or that project themselves, really focuses on, usability, and not only usability, but maybe some enterprise-like features or user management and stuff like that. From a usability standpoint, me as a consumer, I can figure it out. I look at the terminal, I get this QR code that I can scan, and I scan it with my phone. Like, I get that. But, I can't tell my friend, whoever, Jesus or Ira or Tian, hey, you should really use WireGuard. It's really awesome, and don't get me wrong, tech's awesome, works awesome. But for them, they're not tech people. So for them to be able to go and, spin it up and look in the logs and scan that barcode is kind of hard. So anyways, I'm a huge fan of it. That doesn't mean I'm against it or I don't use it. I really hope it continues to develop, because it's really awesome. It's like night and day over, SSL VPN or OpenVPN. As far as connection and termination and ease of use, it's fantastic. But yeah, so let me know how it goes. Let me know for sure. Thank you for that was me. And that was my bot. Sometimes I feel like I have to give my bot a different name and filter these out. Maybe one day. It's on my list of to-dos. Cheat 95. And by the way, hi, how's it going? Yeah, good to see you. PC Geek, tweaking my gaming settings. Yeah, so PC Geek, not only is he a mod in this channel on Discord, he also streams on Twitch. You should check his channel out. He was playing Scum yesterday. I got to see a little bit of it. It was pretty cool. Survival game, right? Survival game. Zombies, survival. And that's about sums it up. But pretty cool. Pretty awesome game so far, at least from what I watched. Ilude, designing my interpretation of the Wendell Megadesk. Yeah, I saw that video. Pretty cool. I have a lot of similarities. I was like, yep, converted to standing. I don't have a gigantic monitor though, and I don't have the two angled up there. I wish I did. The more I think about it, the more I just want a huge monitor right here. So what you can't see, I don't have my other camera hooked up, or I'd show you. So what you can't see right now is I have two 1440p monitors in portrait mode, and then one in landscape. I would at some point love to get a gigantic one here and replace the one that's in front of me and still keep my 2 landscape. Now that I have a better video card, I can. And so that was always kind of holding me back. Like 1440p was always my res that I actually stream. Well, everything's set at 1440p now, and I down convert it to 1080p for Twitch. My previous video card wasn't as good at doing that, along with everything else that's running. Now that I got a better video card, I think I can go 4K or whatever I want in front of me now, and just let my video card handle transcoding it down to a smaller res, which is pretty awesome. Anyways, about the window video, yeah, so custom, so awesome. Yeah, I need to do some more stuff like that. I went through that, I think like about a year ago, where I converted this to a standing desk, but I want more. Now that I have this, I'm like, okay, what can I bolt on to this thing? You know, within the 250-pound limit that I have for my standing desk. So yeah, but yeah, it looks awesome. I need to watch it again and take some notes for sure. Homeland, working hard on finishing my master's project. Final 2 weeks. Yeah, man, dude, already. I remember when you were just talking about you're going to start your master's project, and now you're talking about finishing it. So, man, time is really flying, man. Hope it goes well. 2 weeks. Just push through. Run past that. You know, don't run up to it. Run past it. So you'll be ready when it's here. Dr. Control, that's what they tell people in running. I don't run or race, but I think that's what they say. Dr. CTL, Dr. Control. I'm going to go with Dr. Control. Fixing my broken Zigbee mesh. Nice. Yeah, that sounds complicated. Maybe it's not. It does sound kind of complicated. I haven't done anything. Do I? I think I use Z-Wave. I can't remember. I don't remember which protocol Philips Hue use, if it's Zigbee or Z-Wave or both. Maybe I use it, maybe I don't. I'd have to look, but I don't remember. But that sounds kind of complicated. Hopefully you have some tooling to help you out or something. Yeah, totally get the mesh part. I just don't remember which protocol I use. But man, hopefully you figure it out. Dude, div-o null, a new null. There are so many nulls. I love it. Is Twitch like putting null in and substituting out for characters, or are people choosing null? Because I love it. I like null is a legitimate value. So I'm a software developer, so I get the null. Dude, div or null, resub, 2 months. Woohoo, 2 months subscriber now. Yeah, yes, you made it past one. You ran past one. Exactly what I was talking about. Dude, thanks for the continued support. Really appreciate it. Johnny. Oh god, I'm so bad at reading names, especially when they're not camel case or a Pascal case. I feel like a programmer. I'm just like, what does this even say? I need some casing. But anyways, I'm gonna go with J Jonas. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. How you doing? So yeah, Dr. Control, hopefully you figure out your Zigbee stuff, because that might be kind of complicated. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's just like, hey, this one device is offline, and that's, you know, the first hop in this whole entire mesh. And after I get that first hop on all the devices online, all the rest will be online. I'm optimistic. Dow Cola. Prepping for a Swedish exams on Monday is a pain, but at least I were told that I should be getting a summer spot on an ISP networking team. Nice, dude, nice. Getting right out of school and going on an ISP networking team. That's pretty awesome. So man, you're going right to the top, man, or right to, you know, a huge, it seems, infrastructure jump to go from, from school to working for a big ISP and networking. You're going to learn so much. It's going to might be overwhelming at first, but you're going to learn so much. But yeah, congratulations. That's super awesome. PC Geek with the subs. Yeah, thanks for gifting them. Oh, I didn't even call out who got the gifted subs. I apologize. It happened so early. It threw me off. But Cracks, Tylars, and Bitrider. Oh, wait. Hey, thanks to PC Geek for your gifted subs. Dude, appreciate it again. Thank you so much, man. Nora. Wow, just found out that Thunderbird has an XMPP client. Oh, okay. Thunderbird. So Thunderbird is the mail client from Mozilla, right? It's been a while. That used to be my mail client when I was on Ubuntu way back in the day. And so they have an XMPP client. Interesting. Yeah, man, I haven't used Thunderbird in a while. Maybe I should look at it again. Just use webmail now. But I miss mail clients. There's actually so much you can do A lot of great stuff you can do in native clients than that web clients just don't always support. But yeah, but browsers are getting way better at supporting those things too. Zoid, 25, howdy, how's it going? Good to see you. Hi, Lud, yeah. Tylars, thanks, PC Geek, yeah, thank you. Included no, hello everyone, how you doing? Findle, private project, updating a really old site written something. Oh, .NET. I assume that's .NET. I'm guessing because the bot probably thought that was a website. I'm guessing because I see web forms and then later on MVC. Yeah. So a really old site written in .NET, I assume, web forms to using facades and repositories to be able to update it to a .NET 5 MVC. Wow. Yeah, that's tough. Going from web forms to .NET MVC is tough. It was tough even years and years ago when I had to do some of that. Good luck. Good luck. I bet, man. I bet a lot of it might be rewriting parts of it. It just depends. But man, that sounds like a tough job. Sounds like a tough job for sure. But maybe they have tests. I doubt it. If it's that old, I doubt there are tests. But it's always, I don't know. I kind of enjoy refactoring stuff. When you've progressed and you have some time to think about this or that or everything and how it works or how it fits in like later on. I enjoy refactoring sometimes a little bit too much. I can go overboard to where I'm like refactoring most of what I just wrote, but I enjoy it because, when you start out with certain assumptions and those can change over time for sure. Man, my nose is itching. I was just talking about being white from the shine and now it's like totally itching. Anyways, get wrecked. Oh yeah, get wrecked it. Spring cleaning. You could help me vacuum. Just kidding. Yeah, spring cleaning. Speaking of spring, yeah, it's about that time. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of vacuuming. I guess I'm better now. I used to not like it a lot, and then we got this Dyson vacuum that's totally cordless. Now it's just like you zoom around and you just turn it on when you need it. It's so cool. Anyways. Yeah, I'll help. I could help. But yeah, spring cleaning, it totally does feel like spring. Like it's 60 here in Minneapolis and it's like, man, this is unusually warm. We'll take it though. It's gets really cold up here, but it's unseasonably warm. I still know, I never think we're in the clear until after about May 2nd, May 3rd. Then I'm like, there's no chance of snow now. Even though it has snowed May 1st, like many years in a row over the last like 4 or 5, I don't know. I still think there's one coming, at least for us. PC Geek, don't mention it, Tim. Thank you too, man. Keep up the great work. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Nick, do you have Comcast? I do not. I do not. I have a long story about it, but no, I have fiber through a fiber provider here in the Twin Cities, and it's really awesome. When we went to purchase this house, one of the first things I did was look at the fiber map and say, does this house fall on the fiber map? And it was scoped for like the next year, and I'm like, okay, we can do it. So I did have Comcast here, yeah. So I had it here for I don't know 6, 7, 8 months or something until fiber came here. But I've been all fiber. I mean, I kind of went overboard. I tore the coax out everywhere of the house, internally, externally. I cut the coax from the house that connected to one of the main lines. It kind of went overboard. I did the same thing with the phone line because I'm like, I don't want all these extra things running outside of my house and or attached to my house when I'll never do it. And, arguably the next person that lives here, it's going to be like, what the heck was this guy thinking? Tore out the cable, tore out the phone lines, but maybe not. Maybe it'd be like, thank you, or not even notice it. But I got an earful from both the, Comcast or, the ISP as well as the phone telco provider. I got an earful from them, saying like, oh, well, the next person who buys it, they're going to have to pay to get it attached to the line. I'm like thinking in my head, no way. You would be happy for them to sign up for telephone or your service, and you'll probably have someone do it. So anyways, long story. I do not. I've been fiber through a provider here, and it's fantastic. It's so cheap. I mean, relatively cheap. I mean, I'm getting 300 up and down. I could go to gig. Don't need that much. For less than $50. I mean, it's pretty awesome. No bundles, no 3 triple team, all that stuff, trying to get you to sign up for everything. It's, hey, we're an ISP. We provide this. Here's what it is. Flat rate. It's awesome. Includes taxes too. Swedish, thanks for follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. Included null, I'm doing something not so technical. Hey, totally fine, totally fine. We all have lives outside of tech. I'm building a new drawer for my desk. Nice, nice. One has a 4U rack. Okay, not so technical, but it is. One has a 4U rack at the top and 2 drawers below. The other is 3 drawers and on casters. Nice. So this is a desk that's also a server rack. I'm liking this. I'm liking this for sure. Man, that sounds awesome. Yeah, is this totally, are you doing like an IKEA hack? Are you starting with nothing? Are you building it from scratch like PC Geek and I know? I mean, iLude would. I have a hard time doing that. I'm pretty good at IKEA hacks, but you know, when it comes to building things from scratch, I just don't even know where to start. But yeah, curious. Thindle, work control software for a nuclear power plant. Wow, so that's what you're working on. Be careful, pay attention. Pay attention to the software or the control system that you're working on. Sounds pretty important, more important than this stream. Yeah, so that's awesome. The casing, I'm totally terrible, especially when this is purple. The cruising, that's what I'm going with. Just getting into Home Lab and your awesome tutorials have made getting into Rancher with Kubernetes real easy. Thanks for all you do. Hey, no problem. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm always humbled by people who 1, find my videos, 2, try them out, and 3, stop in here to say thank you. So I really appreciate it. Also, I'm just so surprised now about, you know, all the people using Rancher. I mean, for years I felt like it was always just me. I mean, it's not the case. I mean, obviously they had enterprise customers. There were a lot of people using it. But I used it all the way back in like 1.4 or something. And whenever I'd mentioned to anyone, they're just like, never heard of it. You know, and if you Googled, you know, Rancher on Google, you would get, you know, the definition of a rancher on Wikipedia, like, you know, a farm worker, a farm tender or something like that. So it's really evolving. By no means am I trying to say like I influenced it. I'm just glad that people are using it now and that it has better SEO, because now I can actually find problems in Rancher. Like I think one time I Googled like, what are the minimum requirements for a Rancher? And it was like high school diploma. I was like, no, that's not what I'm looking for. So if you Google it now, hopefully it doesn't tell you, you know, the minimum requirements for like, you know, someone who works on a ranch. Hopefully it tells you the technical requirements for the system called Rancher. Anyways, I appreciate you stopping in and thank you. Sounds energizing. Yeah, for sure. I like it. We got jokes. He brought jokes. It's good to hear. If you aren't already, join us on Discord. Yeah, thank you. Cracks, Techno Tim, Cracks is fine. Cracks is fine, thanks. Okay. Because, you know, the X's and names, this is we'll probably continue to see this, and this will continue to grow. Some people use X's just like spaces because they're running out of names. It's crazy to think about where we'll be in 20 years and people trying to pick unique names when, you know, a lot of unique names have been taken. And this is probably an example of one. Maybe you wanted real cracks, but you couldn't get cracks, so you threw X's in it. Anyways, cracks, I hope that works. That's what it looks like to me. Our CR4KZZZXX and a couple X's in front. Let's see. I am them, Mr. Bill. I am the Mr. Bill. All right, Mr. Bill. I'm new to your live. Always wanted to catch it, but my first one I've been able to. Hey, thanks. Hopefully I don't let you down. Yeah. So my live show is kind of free form. It's just a chance for me to connect with everybody that I don't normally get a chance to connect to. Answer questions, talk tech, and just meant to be 100% interactive. It's not me, you know, talking at you about some system. It's us talking about systems or things we're interested in. And so, yeah, it's kind of my goal when I started out on YouTube, is to find other people who like things that I do or are interested in things that I do, or, you know, that I could bounce ideas off and people I can learn from. And so this is just another extension of that. So I appreciate it. Welcome. Yeah, for sure. Dow Cola. Yeah, the latter, Doa. Dow or Doa? I'm going with Doa. It's pronounced Doa, right? DOA. No. And then, yeah, that's the other one is it's an acronym, DOA. Anyways, and yes, been lurking on Discord, been fighting the job stuff due to COOF, and started studying as a sadder result from that. Ladder, I assume. But SATA? Oh, no, SATA result from that. Sorry. My words are getting mixed up. Words are hard. Hey, yeah, no problem at all. I was just saying, hey, I've noticed. That's all. I'm not trying to poke fun or anything. I'm just saying, hey, yeah, I noticed. Didine, working on Mumble for Docker. Nice, yeah, Mumble. Oh man, blast from the past. Setting up a local server and Mumble clients for all the fam. I love it. You're like, I'm doing self-hosted audio and chat or game chat. Man, Mumble, that's a blast from the past. I love it. I mean, that and TeamSpeak were all I used to use back in the day before Discord. And arguably, I've used even more for voice during gaming than Discord itself. I mean, I had that problem with Discord for about, 4 months from UDM Pro. But outside of that, I mean, gaming and voice for me has always been TeamSpeak and Mumble. And Discord has always been chat. I've hopped on Discord voice before. Even Discord video, but still, like there's something about like those two projects that I love, and maybe it's being self-hosted. I'm not sure. I need to look into that some more. I need some more self-hosted stuff in my life for sure. But yeah, hopefully it goes well. Docker, great choice. Probably gonna map a lot of ports in a config file or some local storage so that you can write some config stuff out so you can persist some data. But sounds awesome. Sounds awesome. You'll have to let me know how it goes. Cracks. I was here maybe a few months ago. You probably don't remember. I was the guy with a really bad memory performance in Windows VM in Proxmox and came here to check if maybe you had an idea, but you didn't, which is fine. Still on to that. All right. Updated to the newest Proxmox Edge kernel today. Didn't improve it. Man, I am sorry. And it was performance then, right? Okay. Bad memory performance. Oh, yeah. You were, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I vaguely remember. But yeah, I probably told you to run like an offline memory scanner, memory checker, but yours was more about just performance in general. Yeah, that one's tough. I think we even asked, like, how do you know it's a memory performance issue? And I assume you ran some tooling inside of that virtual machine for Windows and ran some tooling, and you saw that the memory was either super high latency or not fast enough. So that's tough. And does it happen in Linux VMs too? Or yeah, I mean, have you looked in the BIOS to make sure that the memory is set properly, right? Everything's either automatic or hard coded to what it should be. I mean, if it's a server, it's most likely going to be right. Do you have one odd DIMM in there? One odd DIMM. I mean, and then I guess my other question is like, is it all VMs or is it just that Windows VM? And then if it is all VMs, and then have you tried running some kind of checker on the host itself on Proxmox? And then if that still shows the same results, maybe look in the BIOS and check to make sure that everything's set right. And if that is, and you're still getting slower speeds than you should, yeah, look at one of the DIMMs. Are all the DIMMs exactly the same? Speed, cache latency, voltage, all of that stuff. I mean, the actual hardware piece. And then, then I start pulling stuff out. That's me personally, one by one, pull it out, or the opposite, pull them all out and replace them one by one, and see if you still have it. I know that's a really long process, but I mean, it'll help you narrow it down really fast. And then, you could run memory benchmarking tools or memory scanning tools, even on the hardware itself. You boot from memtest 86 or memtest, whatever it is. I have it on one of my drives, and I did it on my one use servers right before I built them. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably throwing out the same exact ideas and all the things you tried. I'm just trying to hopefully spark an idea for you to look into. Joan 5S. Hey Tim, can you suggest any network monitoring tools like Nagios? Yeah, I mean, so it depends on what you're trying to monitor. I mean, Nagios is great. I mean, I have a lot of old memories of Nagios, and it is really that buzzing sound. And then I have other memories of configuring Nagios for myself. Well, it's for a small company I worked for way back, and just how hard it was to set up the configuration properly. That's probably all evolved because it was all PHP, and I had to configure tons of files. I think it was PHP, or it might have been Perl scripts. I don't even remember. But for monitoring, for checking to see if something is alive, like that, I mean, and it's just endpoints like IPs. I mean, Nagios is a pretty good bet. the things that I monitor, me personally, that I monitor, real quick. Alan Molson, resub Prime 3 months. Hi Tim, love your YouTube videos. Thank you so much, dude. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Prime 3 months. Really appreciate the continued support. Thank you so much, Alan Molson. But as far as like monitoring goes, so I always say this. I have something coming soon, but I do have something coming soon on monitoring. But my monitoring, what am I trying to say? For my monitoring personally, what I do is I monitor my Kubernetes workloads and how they're doing, how the nodes are doing, if they're alive, if they're not. So I use a combination of Prometheus, what all do I use? Prometheus, Kibana, Grafana. And from those I get monitoring and I get metrics. I don't get logging, but that's also coming soon. And then I set up an alert, and then I set up alerts internally. So I have alerts internally that set up that I have a private Slack server just for me. I wish it was Discord, but the thing I use doesn't support Discord. I should probably open a pull request on that. And it'll ping this private channel that I have for all of my alerts. That's how I set it up. I use both Slack and Discord for my alerts and monitoring and logs. It's totally not what it's used for. I'm not sure if they like that or they don't like that, but I'm not putting anything sensitive in it. It's usually a lot of emojis and telling me what the problem is. And it's just a quick way that I can always check these things on the go. I can, I have Discord on every device possible. Same with Slack. I can open it up from anywhere and I can look in that channel and I can say, oh, this Kubernetes node is down and here's why. So anyways, but then there's, so that's how I monitor things in Kubernetes. I don't have a great solution for things outside of Kubernetes, like at the server level or at the endpoint level. There are some third-party services that I use that will ping or query a lot of my web services to make sure that they're alive, that they're reporting. I have a health check endpoint. So this is web dev stuff. Sorry if it doesn't apply, but I have a health check endpoint that just returns 200 OK, and then I use third-party services to hit my endpoint all day long, every day, and hit that endpoint to say, hey, /health check, are you alive? And it says 200 OK, and everything's good. If it's not 200 OK, then it starts alerting me. In Slack, again, I use Slack, so I have Slack integration, and it's just pinging me, every 5 minutes. So-and-so's down, so-and-so's down, so-and-so's down until that machine recovers, and then it says so-and-so is back up, all recovered, all good. And so that's how I monitor external things internally, or from external to web endpoints. But I mean, if you're going into just raw, like IP, you want to check by IP, basically Nagios pings. I mean, that is a good option. I'm sure there are other ones out there, and I just rambled for a long time on monitoring, but there's so many ways that you can monitor things. Nagios is always a good option. I mean, a lot of people still use it. I every now and then I get kind of snarky on it. It has nothing to do with the product and more to do with hearing that noise when I was in data centers racking servers of that loud buzzing sound all the time when a service is not responding properly. But yeah. If you want to do it in Kubernetes, got something coming soon. How about that? Let's see, Nick. So you run Proxmox and Docker. Nick, I run everything. I run everything. What am I not running? I think it's an easier question to answer. Yeah, I'm probably not. So I mean, I've talked about my infrastructure and kind of my architecture that I have. It's I use Proxmox for my hypervisor. It's my hypervisor to help me, virtualize all of my nodes or my servers. From there, I usually virtualize either Windows or Ubuntu server. It's like either that or that. Those are most of what I virtualize. There's some other ones in there for test. And then on those virtual machines, I can choose whether what services run on those servers. Most of the time, I'd say a majority of my nodes that I have are running Kubernetes. And so Kubernetes right now, my version of Kubernetes is running Docker. Soon I can switch over to Containerd if I want. Some of them are running. Yeah, I switched over to K3S. Some of them are running Docker, plain old Docker, and then I manage that with Portainer. And that's because I don't need high availability. I don't want to deal with clustering. I don't want to deal with any, these are internal services that I use here, and I don't want to just install the service. I want all the benefits of containerization, so I use plain old Docker, albeit I use Portainer then to manage that. And then I have, my K3s Kubernetes nodes, which are just, Ubuntu server running K3s. K3s uses containerd, and then so that's my containerization engine for those nodes. That was a lot. Hopefully you hopefully you understood that. But really, Proxmox is my hypervisor. It helps me virtualize things. I use Docker to containerize things. And sometimes I use containerd to containerize things if they're running in Kubernetes. And so this is always evolving, always changing. So that's my latest. PC Geek, have you tried using UEFI boot versus the CBIOS? I also would try the host CPU flag. That might help too. Yeah, good call. So I didn't even think about that. Yeah, good call. So things you can do on that virtual machine too to check out. Nick 773. I have a Dell R710 Proxmox. I'm from Chicago. All right, Nick. Hey, thank you. Yeah, I know Chicago well. It's kind of near my hometown, and I also have an R710. A lot in common. But yeah, hey, awesome. Yeah, how do you like it? I love my R710. It did a lot of work for me over a long period of time. I'm trying to find a new role for it. And if I can't find a new role for it, I'm going to find a new home for it. I'm going to find someone who's interested in having an R710 in their home. Because right now it's on my workbench. I want a role for it, and I want an on-demand role for it. I haven't found the perfect one yet. I already have an on-demand backup server, and that's working fantastic, except for one last piece. I just haven't found anything new for my R710 to do, but I want to for sure. Divinal, for WireGuard, is there an easy way to add users without having to restart the container to take new changes? Yeah, good question. I don't know the answer to that because I don't know the answer to that. I'll say that because on the Docker container you have to specify how many clients, right? So I think it has an environment variable of clients, and then the container when it spins up gets those environment variables, right? It says, hey, Docker, what's getting passed into me? Right now it's 2, and you've changed it to 3. Really, the only way for it to get new that I can know about, for it to get new environment variables is typically just to restart the container. Now, I know that kind of stinks. And maybe there's something you could do. Maybe there's something in the local file you can do. But that's the only way I've been able to do it because it's an environment variable. And then, going back to that usability piece, after you change that environment variable to say from 2 to 3, it's going to spit out the new QR code in the logs, and then you'll see it there. And so, a quick flip, restart, or change and apply the environment variables is the way that I've done it in the past. I don't know that there's any other way around it. There might be in config. Maybe you can find something in a config file. Or just see how they do it, on a thick, I don't want to say a thick client because, Docker arguably is. But look at their documentation and how you do it without Docker, because that might give some clues into what you change on the Docker version. I still feel like the service needs to be recycled if it's Docker, but I could be wrong. Cracks, PC Geek, thanks for stepping in, but I'm already far past that point. UEFI is used, host is set, balloon makes no difference. Yeah, I did a bunch more stuff. You can check the level 1 forum thread. Now I remember. Yep. Or check the Proxmox forums. Yeah. Because I remember you saying you posted in those forums. Yeah, totally. Open world survival game. Yeah, that wraps up Scum in a quick one line, better than I could. Morvia. Installed AWX, Portainer, and Docker this week. Runs great. Only problem is I run into what's DNS, as always. Yeah, awesome. I've been looking at AWX a ton, and so if you're not familiar with it, it's basically Ansible engine on top of a web browser. So it's super cool. Super cool. Their documentation is a little lax, and that's totally fine because it feeds into their main product tower. And that's the one that is paid, where AWX is free. So the documentation's maybe I can add to it at some point when I spin it up. I'm super interested in AWX, mainly because I run Ansible for a lot of things. It would be cool if it was just I had a web UI, all those tasks and or roles were defined somewhere else, and I could just run them from here. So, and it's basically like self-hosting website for Ansible, and it's really awesome because I love that. I'd love to be able to just remote in and do that outside of having Ansible configured only on this local machine or Ansible configured on some virtual machine that I have to remote into and issue SSH commands. So yeah, you'll have to let me know it. I mean, you've already done, it looks like the hard work. You got it running in Docker and then running with Portainer. It's super awesome, super awesome. Thank you. Pizza Geek. Okay, cool. It was weird. I wonder if their different hypervisor would be any better. If you have extra disk, could be, you could try an ES6i test or just XCPNG. Yeah. Just to see if it has a hardware or software problem. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you could always try a different hypervisor too. I mean, yeah, I wish I had a better answer. 1K Sender, recommendation on where to start learning Docker, Rancher, Kubernetes at a very basic level. Yeah, I lean to YouTube. I lean to YouTube and official documentation. And so, real quick, NQND, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Oh, and Pineapple Girl, hey, I missed that one. I apologize, 8 minutes ago. Thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Welcome. Thank you. So 1K Sender, yeah, I mean, I lean towards official documentation. So if you want to learn about just Docker, yeah, I would go to the Docker site. It's their documentation has arguably gotten better. And if you want to learn about, Rancher, I go to their site too. My next step is usually just look on YouTube. And technically, if you Google either of these things, Google's going to return YouTube videos too that have the best SEO. So, that's an option too. And if you want to pit them against each other and say, hey, Docker versus Kubernetes, I mean, that's a huge topic. But there's great videos out there that explain that too. But at the end of the day, I think you got to lean into the official documentation. And then if you want something a little more light and actually want to just be able to, absorb and think, I mean, YouTube's always a great learning resource too. I found that. And yeah, I mean, I could summarize it too, but these videos and documentation would do it way better than I could do for sure. I go official docs first until they're not good enough, until you're not getting what you need out of it for sure. Yeah. Cracks. Yes, I was thinking about that too, but I don't know. I really want to do some stuff and mess with the stuff because I need to switch would be kind of a pain. Yeah, I agree that switching hypervisors would be a big move. But try those things I mentioned too. Because try to rule out hardware. I mean, that would be my first thing. Rule out hardware. If you put this much time and effort into it, hardware checks aren't that hard to do, doing those steps that I said. Work your way backwards instead of working your way forward. So now, if you're all the way at the virtualization level or at the VM level, work your way back instead of saying, what can I do to this virtual machine to figure it out? Go layer back, go to the hypervisor, go to the OS, go to the hardware, or go to, a memtest tool, run that, let it run. It's going to take a long time depending on how much RAM you have. And then if that doesn't work, go stick by stick. But I mean, you have everything there in your ability to identify it. I think you just need to take the time. I think it's those are tough ones. I always say memory ones are the hardest ones to figure it out. Hardest to figure out. No route. No route has been my nickname on the net for years now. Began in IRC. All right. No all the way. Yes. All right. You guys are handling that situation. Sigor. Hi, everyone. Sigor, how's it going? I miss you. Is that Len in 30 millimeters? My lens in 30 millimeter. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. I forget. This lens never comes off. This camera is basically my dedicated Zoom and or YouTube and or Twitch streaming camera. So it rarely ever comes off unless I need to do some wide angle shots somewhere. But yeah, I couldn't tell you. If you look at my gear links, the exact lens is there. I have a Sony A6400 mirrorless. And it's fantastic. Had a I don't remember the model before. It's actually right there that I do other stuff with too. But yeah, I've been a Sony mirrorless fan for a while. I had a DSLR way back in the day. It was just too much for me, and then I discovered mirrorless cameras, and I was like, these are fantastic because they're so compact. But yeah, Budney, good day, y'all. How's it going? Thunderbird is still my mail client. All right, PC Geek. All right, yes. Works good with Gmail. All right, no route. Thunderbird is awesome. Use it for Ubuntu and Mac OS. All right, yeah, Mac Mail is oof. That's not good. I didn't think about it for Mac. I don't know if I'm fortunate or what, but most places I worked at have, I won't even say it, Exchange and Outlook. Boo, hiss. I know. But there are some things that Outlook does well. A couple of things, other things, arguably not so well. But most places I've worked have given me Office even on my Mac, so it worked out awesome. But yeah, I didn't even think about Thunderbird on Mac. I'll have to check it out. I'm terrible at pronouncing A's, E's, and U's together. I'm going with the cruising. It's probably so wrong. Thanks for follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. Has a plugin for Google Calendar too. Nice. Yeah. I got to check it out. I'm ever since going all in too with Gmail and Google Apps. I've always just been now webmail because I'm like, oh, mail clients. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, they're fantastic, and there's not you can't do everything in a web client, but sometimes it's just, I don't know. It's just easy, I guess. It doesn't do. I will say though that notifications do not work well in Chrome. For your calendar invites. There are times where I'm like, working away, and like, look at the time. It's like 2:10. I'm like, cool. Well, was I supposed to do anything today? And I'm 10 minutes late because Chrome notifications didn't go off on Gmail. So that's the one thing that I say, Outlook does well. Outlook did really well, probably too well at notifications. And I'm sure Thunderbird does this really well too. Any native mail client is going to do this well. Chrome, not so much. That web worker that works in the background that has a WebSocket or whatever open to Gmail just disconnects sometimes, and so you don't get your notifications of your meetings. So yeah, it kind of sucks. Anyways, and then it's Chrome. You open one tab and you're already like at a gig of RAM. So yeah, maybe I should go native. I got one of those Dysons too. So handy. I totally agree. There's a few things in my life where, my life was a little bit different after them. Dyson vacuum is one. And then some of my cordless tools are another that take battery power. Cause like you start to realize like, oh, well, before I had that vacuum, it was like, I kept the vacuum on and plugged in the whole entire time. Just the whole entire time until the cord couldn't reach anymore. Right. But after you switch to batteries, you're like, why am I running the battery right now when it's going to wear out? So you start to do this whole, I don't know, your mind totally shifts. And the same thing for like my weed whacker and or a weed whip. I don't know what they call it around here. I've always called them a weed whacker, a string trimmer. And also like my leaf blower, they're all battery powered now. And it's like, wait, I just let go of the button. I don't need this thing on anymore, wasting power. Anyways. But I totally agree. Vacuum's the same way. I'm like, vacuum this one spot, let go of the button. I'm like, oh, this is great. This is like just in time vacuuming. Jit. LOL, I could go to gig. Don't need it though. Said no one ever. Yeah. I mean, I haven't. Yeah. People always like get on me about that. They're like, why don't you do gigabit? It's like, well, I want to save $20 a month, Yeah, I mean, I rarely, like, if I look at my network bandwidth, it'll spike up to 100 or so, and that's on average. But rarely do I ever use more than that. And so I just can't justify the extra $20. I mean, one day I should do it just to flex and be like, yep, I have fiber, gigabit. Don't get me wrong. There's probably a lot of people who need it, families who have many devices and many streaming devices or uploading tons of stuff, but pretty conservative on bandwidth here. I mean, I have a few things that run 24/7 streaming video, and they're only using, 6-7 megabit per second each up. And it's like, okay, well, I got lots to spare. And when I look at my, all of my metrics for on my UDM, it's just like, I have tons of headroom. I would love to, though, at least to say I did. If I ever need to do like a mass download or mass backup, you better believe I'm going to gigabit. Like if I had to restore everything from the cloud, yeah, I'd flick on gigabit for a day or two and just like totally download it, or for that month. Same with upload. Like if I switched, backup providers for things in the cloud, I would switch to gigabit Ethernet, gigabit internet for a month and just totally upload as fast as I possibly could. And that's, you know, that's the other thing too. A lot of people can't push to you at gigabit. I get it though. Like you're rarely ever downloading one thing. It's, you know, it's your whole entire household that's downloading many things at once. So yeah, I totally should though. Swedish, what's the best way to access services like Portainer on VPS? Put a reverse proxy in front of it. I mean, yeah. So I mean, so Swedish, yeah, good question. If you're using a virtual private server, basically someone else's server, right? Treat it like your own server. You know, how would you get back to your own server if you weren't on the same network? I mean, just look at it like that. Portainer is not something I would expose publicly. Period. It's just not that web UI. I mean, unless you're going to enable auth and enable SSL, and then you have a reason to actually, access it publicly, then yeah, maybe you need to. But I would treat it like a service in your home. How do you get back home? Well, usually VPN, right? Maybe you can, or maybe you can't do VPN to your server in the cloud. But you should. If you're not going to, and you need to make it publicly available, then I would probably put a reverse proxy in front of it with SSL. And then on top of that, a very, strong password. And that's as good as you can do. I mean, there might be other things, but I would argue for don't make, the Portainer UI publicly accessible. Put VPN, get VPN to that virtual machine to where if you need to do some administration, you just VPN into it. Any of those services that need incoming, if they need anything incoming, like you're hosting your blog inside of Docker, you're going to still want a reverse proxy. Hint, hint, reverse proxy, like what I'm wearing today, Traefik or Nginx or you name it, HA proxy, whatever you want to use, a reverse proxy with SSL. The nice thing is if you go with Traefik, they just gave me the shirt, and I think it's a good product. If you go with Traefik on Docker, it's super easy, and you'll actually get routes for free for a lot of your containers that are running in Docker just by adding some labels. So it's super, super awesome. It's a container first networking stack, and it's really cool. Anyways, but I would say, I would treat it like anything else. Treat it like you're, on the go. How do you get back home to your servers? Well, you VPN. Like I wouldn't treat something that's in someone else's server farm or in the cloud any different, unless you absolutely need to. And just think of it like that. A VPS, it's really just a virtual machine in someone else's house. If PC Geek or iLoot was like, here, have a virtual machine. And I'd be like, sweet, how do I access it? I mean, hopefully they would say VPN, and treat it like that. Just because it's in a public cloud doesn't mean it's, obviously, it's just like any other endpoint on that's exposed. Treat it that way. I mean, whether it's in home or someone else's cloud or somewhere else, access it through VPN until you absolutely can't anymore. That's what I would do. Yeah, there you go. PC Geek VPN usually. Yeah, the quick answer. VPN too, yeah. You guys are all over it. I promise I didn't look at all this stuff. PC Geek, Google Rancher on Google Rancher on Google. Yeah, LOL. Yeah. It is pretty funny. I think the SEO is better. I think the SEO is getting better. I don't know. Penguin Airlines, how's it going? Oh man, Cryo, hey, Tim in chat. Yeah, that is a nice penguin. I'm so jealous of his emotes all the time. Including no Techno Tim, the drawer units are from scratch plywood using 6-foot IKEA Linman on the top. All right, that's I think what my desktop is. I don't know. I think it's Linman. Oh no, Linman is the white one. It's the white one. I have the pine one. Anyways, awesome. I anytime there's IKEA stuff mixed in there, I can totally relate because I've done some IKEA hacks, and arguably a lot of their stuff isn't solid, but I usually buy the solid wood stuff and then make better stuff out of it or stain it or paint it or whatever. It's super fun. And yeah. Sounds awesome. Tanran. That's what I'm going. Last time I did this, it was Dan the Data Man, and I was like, Dan Tam Tam Dam. Rantam Tam Man. Right. There we go. I am more from the ops side. AWS, Kate's, Rancher, networking, infra as code, and currently building an app with Flutter. Nice. Completely new to everything regarding this. Awesome. Yeah. So you went from, I love it. I love it. Cause I went the other way. I started like where you are. So I wasn't using Flutter, but using a client technology or front end technology, like, like Flutter or whatever, Angular, React Native, all that stuff, but working on the client piece. And then I went towards DevOps stuff because I had to, and because I was super interested in it. So that's awesome. That's a huge leap. That's awesome. And I'm excited for you. Flutter makes things easy. Flutter makes things easy. So if you're not familiar with Flutter, it's a Google created and sponsored project that allows you to create cross-platform mobile applications. So if you want to write an app once and deploy it to Android and iOS, Flutter is going to be for you. Similar to React Native, if you've heard of that, same idea. As well as Ionic. Ionic does a little bit different, but Flutter and React Native are very, very similar. And so, Google created one called Flutter. I think you got to write it in Dart, a little bit different. But at the end of the day, you get to compile 2 apps. So it's write once, deploy many. Like that dream of I want to have one code base and deploy to many. I mean, you can think of like Unity or all these other cross-platform things that are out there that are doing similar things. This one's specifically for mobile. So, yeah, really awesome. Yeah. How do you like it so far? Rantan takes a lot of time. Yeah, I totally agree. Especially when you're new. It takes a ton of time. Even if I've done front end development for a while. I've even done mobile development. If I were to jump into Flutter, it would take me a while just because I don't know anything about Flutter other than what it does and what its purpose is. Cracks. The X's are kind of stupid. But I stuck with it since my teenage days. Funny story behind it too, but too much to tell here. So no, I totally get it. I still have some stupid names that have lingered on only because I've let them in different systems that I've used. I've tried to gradually switch them over. Penguin Airlines. The Swedish guy used Mumble for his Raspberry Pi internet walkie-talkies. Nice. Oh, yeah. Okay. I like it. Yeah, that's awesome. Modern day walkie-talkies with Mumble. I love it. Included Null, I still use TeamSpeak and I use IRC too. Yeah, awesome. Awesome. I'm glad TeamSpeak's still out there because that was one of the first ones where I was like, this is awesome. It was also one of the first services that, I've been doing home lab or self-hosting stuff for a long time. But a bunch of friends and I used to play, Battlefield or whatever game we were playing. And someone would always have to host the TeamSpeak server. And, back then it was like, I'm not hosting it. You're not taking away from my resources and, my, 512 megs of RAM or my CPU, you host it. And then it was always just this, what's your IP address and all this, a lot of stuff that are solved using different systems. But the same problem still exists for systems today outside of the resource stuff. So then I was like, okay, well, you guys, I'll spin up TeamSpeak on my old server in the basement. I'll just connect it with local. You guys connect it through the internet. I'll just get dynamic DNS, DynaDNS at the time, and you guys can use it whenever you want. And I had decent internet at the time too, a lot better than them. And that was, I don't want to say one of the first things I self-hosted, but one of the things that I was self-hosting for a long time was TeamSpeak because it was like, hey, here's a voice chat server. Like, use it for anything, even when we're not playing games together, even when you two are together, because you don't have to use resources. And it was just like, yes, I'd see the little light saying like 2 people are in your server, and I was just like so excited about it. Anyways, I still get that excited about people using software today. But yeah, super awesome. Dowcall, no worries, Tim. Kind of sad. Time zones are what they are. Like for me to catch your stream is after 11 p.m., but happy to get the time to just watch and enjoy your streams. Hey, appreciate it, man. No, I totally get it. Time zones, are a thing, and they kind of stink. I try to switch it up. This is my early one, quote unquote early one, depending on where you are in the world. My other ones are, 4 or 5 hours after this one starts. Morvia, my new home lab server is now up for 3 weeks. All right, 3 weeks. Uptime, love it. I thought that 64 gigs of RAM would be sufficient forever, coming from 64 gigs in an old server. So 3 weeks in, running over 50 gigs of RAM usage. So not sure anymore how long 60 gigs will be sufficient. Yeah, that's everything I build now, my first priority is usually RAM. And it's a close tie then for SSDs. I mean, CPUs for the most part are going to be able to run most of your workloads, unless you're doing something very specific. And you want the right feature flags on that CPU. It's usually, besides feature flags on CPUs, I never like, this one, is 2.5 and this one's 3.2. I know that most of my workloads in Kubernetes and outside of Kubernetes are going to run even if it were 2.2 or 3.2 or whatever. So RAM is always the one I go after next, because I just know, things are going to grow. I'm going to write bad software. There's going to be other bad software out there that, that has memory leaks or whatever. And it's, it's just something that, that you can never, ever get enough of. I mean, I have 256 gigs in 2 of my servers right now. And, I was looking at my metrics the other day. I'm like, oh, I'm kind of creeping up to 256. When I built my servers, I did 128. And 2 weeks later, I'm like, I'm doing 256 now because these DIMMs are either going to get more expensive or non-existent by the time I need to upgrade. Yeah, RAM. The struggles are real with RAM, for sure. Cracks. No, it doesn't happen on Linux VMs or containers. It's just Windows. Adding a Windows 7 VM as the second one, and they are also bad. RAM on the host is fine. No ECC errors and memtest errors. Even way after 24 hours, I tried a lot of stuff. I don't know. Just poking in the dark now. Maybe PC Geek is right, and I should start test ESXi. Yeah, that's good choice too. Have you tried other versions of Windows? I'm sure you have. I'm still curious, like, what's the smoking gun? How did you test it on Windows and verify that it has, bad memory performance? Because all we're hearing is possible solutions. Like, what are the symptoms? That's where we need to go. Kalashnikov. That's what I'm going with. Depending on Proxmox host, CPU could be NUMA. Had issues at work because of NUMA spanning. Oh yeah, there's a flag I rarely ever set. I see, but I see it and I never touch it. And I think that's pinning. Isn't that pinning the CPU to specific nodes? I don't know. I never use that flag, but I've seen it. Rantanran, regarding monitoring, can really recommend the new Grafana Cloud free tier, which is perfect for home lab. Prometheus, Grafana is more already included. I think their logging tool, Loki, which is quite new. Nice, yeah. So Grafana's nice. So they're pairing them together now instead of just doing monitoring, monitoring, visualization, alerting. Awesome. That sounds awesome. I haven't checked it out. I'll have to. I run them internally, but yeah, I'll have to look at that free tier too. Cracks, tried CPU pinning too. It just improves it a bit. Speed jumps from 1500 megabytes per second to around 1700 megabytes per second. Oh, all right. We're on to something now. Joan. Okay, thanks guys. Yeah, no problem. Ran, you can run your own Prometheus and copy your stuff to theirs for meta monitoring and such. Yeah, I like it. So monitoring your, yeah, this is totally meta monitoring. Monitoring your monitoring. Yeah, it's like backups for your backups. I like it. Yeah, someone's got to watch the watchers, right? What CPU is the host? Yeah, awesome. You guys are figuring this out. Thank you. Alan Molson. PRTG is pretty popular for monitoring stuff. 100 things monitored for free. Yeah, I'll have to look into this too. Yeah, PRTG, got to look into it. 100 things for free. I assume, I'll have to look. I'm not going to make any assumptions because I don't know if this is it's a self-hosted option or it's a cloud option. But yeah, hey, 100 things for free? Yeah, heck yeah. That's about what I have. Depending on, how I break stuff down. M's the bomb. Heyo, I started watching your streams a few months back. I had no idea Twitch had so many people streaming while coding. I'm actually learning a lot watching them. Yeah. I can help out, give some advice. Thanks for getting me onto this platform. Hey, yeah, no problem at all. Yeah, a lot of people, yeah, I've done it before too. It's definitely a different type of vibe. It's hard to get code done and communicate at the same time. And so I've done it before. It's super fun. You got to remember, there's a lot of things then as the streamer, you got to remember, okay, no secrets in code, which you shouldn't have anyways, but you might have them somewhere like an ENV file. It's like, okay, never open up that ENV file or put dummy, values in that ENV file, or you just export all your variables into the terminal you're working in. So yeah, a lot of things you have to consider when you're writing code. But it's super fun. It's super fun, and it's awesome to see people at work at their craft because it's awesome. You learn so much. Even if you don't understand the code base, you start to learn what tools are they using, what techniques are they using, how are they solving these problems, and you learn so much. I think about the tooling too that I really enjoy it. So I tune in sometimes. I'm like, oh, Oh, what terminal is that? What ID is that? What service are they using? Oh, they have a local proxy running. What are they using? Yeah, it's super fun. So Mzabam, yeah, thank you. Yeah, there's there's something here for everyone on Twitch. I will definitely say that. There absolutely is. There's even a little space for me, which has changed over time. But I'm super happy. A lot of people are like, why don't you just do it on YouTube too? It's like, I started out on Twitch. I enjoy Twitch. I enjoy being here. I like the community around it too. I like their platform. It's pretty, pretty easy to use. Nothing wrong with streaming on YouTube. I mean, a lot of people do that too. I've considered it at some point. I've even done it once or twice just to test it out. You got to do those things to see what it's all about. But I enjoy it. I like being on both. It's super fun. I have on-demand content or VOD content, and then I have live content. So this is my live platform of choice. Yeah. I don't know. It could all change. Specs are okay. 96 gigs of RAM, 1066 megahertz CL7 ECC RAM, Asus. All right. Mocha. Tim, what's up, man? Hope you're doing well in these crazy times. New follower here after I saw your YouTube video. Hey, thanks. Mocha. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. You got that's an at him. Chicano, dude, what's up, man? You should do a face reveal. Yeah. I should do a face reveal. Yeah. It's coming. People have to know that this isn't my real face first. Yeah, Chicano. I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'm playing along. I always play along with your jokes. But yeah, how's it going, man? Hope you're doing well. Klassen, I gotta get this right. Kalasnikorv. I apologize. Prometheus, Grafana, and Elkstack, and then Splunk and Greylog. Nice, yep. Current law monitoring environment. Just got rid of Op5 and check MK. Nice, yeah. So familiar with Prometheus, Grafana, Elkstack, Splunk too. I've done a ton of Splunk and Greylog. Nice, yeah. Familiar with it all. Yeah, good modern stack. I'm so glad that Splunk is still around. Because they were doing some of this stuff way back, and they're still doing it. So I'm super, super happy they're around. I mean, arguably, Elk can do that stuff too. So yeah, I'm just glad they're around for sure. Looks like a couple follows in there. Profit, I didn't see that one. I apologize. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. And Julian Braga, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. How you doing? Kalasnorf. I got to get that right. Please tell me how you pronounce your name. Sound a lot like my machine never had issues. Was it that to start with, or did the issues suddenly appear? Yeah. Good questions to ask. Mucha, I have a question for you. I'm an iMac user because I design, so I'm trying to stream using that rather than buying a PC. Okay. I'm having an issue where I'm not able to stream my actual desktop in the stream. I'm using Streamlabs and followed your video to help, but when trying to capture my screen, it's just black. Any tips on that? Thanks, man. Mucha, black screen fixes on Mac. So I don't know the answer to that. I mean, so in that video, like I was running Streamlabs, I think on an older MacBook Pro. I mean, my only suggestion is to just remove that display item and re-add it. You're not having issues with audio, and that's usually the one that people have is issues with audio. But I mean, remove that display in your sources, re-add it, maybe tweak some settings in there, go into properties and change it around. I don't know what settings are in there. I don't want to click mine right now because I might turn the stream off. But yeah, I don't. I mean, the black box window, it has been a problem on Windows before too. It's usually like video card drivers or, on Windows, it could have been not running as administrator. I think that's been fixed way back in the day. But on Mac, it's a little bit different. Yeah, I would try that. I know that's not the greatest, but try to remove that display source, re-add it, and see if it works. If not, make sure that you're running the latest everything. You're probably on Catalina if you're running an iMac. Maybe you've moved over to the latest OS release. I don't know. It seems like people are still kind of holding out. But, make sure you're on the latest release. Make sure you have the latest Streamlabs. And if all that doesn't work, remove that display source and add another. That's about all I have. I hope that helps. Oh, no, one other thing I just remembered. There's also the new set of permissions that came along with Catalina that I think continued on. Make sure that So in your security settings in Mac, make sure that that Streamlabs has access to, I don't know, it's called like desktop recording. There's a whole bunch of permissions now that they added. Like Catalina was the new Vista for Mac, to where they prompt you for every permission. You got to say yes or no and basically reset everything. And now applications have to ask, the Mac OS API, whatever, for permissions to certain parts of the OS to be able to do things. And so I would look at like there's like screen recording and key recording. I don't know. Look in your permissions, because that might be what it is. Because you might have said whatever, no, don't have permissions to view my desktop, because why would you want that? But it needs to actually capture that desktop display. So give that a shot. Let me know. You guys are figuring that out. Mr. Gryson, just added another Dell Wise 5070 node with my low power K3S cluster. Nice. 15 minutes and it's done. It's unbelievably that this is so easy. I totally agree. I got something coming tomorrow. Still working on my smart home project. MQTT does the job. Nice. Nice. I don't know enough about these Dell Wise 5070 nodes. I'm sure they're on Serve the Home. But I got to check them out. Yeah, it's so easy to add another node to K3S. And I know that, like, I know a lot of the hard parts are around. I'm going to keep, it's got to get the good and the bad. Traefik. It's not Traefik's fault. But a lot of the challenges with Kubernetes is really your ingress or your ingress controller. So getting traffic in and out of there efficiently or at all, depending on what node it's on. And a lot of that comes from self-hosting Kubernetes, which means you have to run middle LB. But yeah, so I totally agree. It's super easy to add another node. I hope that in the future that Kubernetes itself really focuses on, how to get traffic in and out and routed to those nodes appropriately for humans, not for robots. For humans, it would be nice because it's not that easy. And I'll admit. And arguably you could still use, so I'm going off on a tangent, but I thought about this when I was taking a shower. I was like, why am I trying to get everything in and out of my ingress controller when, the simple, eject switch is just to use node port on everything. And so that's an easy way too, to like, okay, like for Plex, like 32400, that's not HTTP, that's TCP. So a different layer in the network stack. Maybe I just expose, the node port on every node and call it a day. Because it's easy, and I don't have to try to go through some, load balancer to get to that thing. I just know that every node has this port open. And it's only Plex's port, or name your services port. I'm not going to map anything there anyway, and so that's a possibility too. But yeah, anyways, I totally agree. I'm a super fan of K3S and how easy it is to add additional nodes. I just added my Raspberry Pi to it, and it literally took 5 minutes, and it was a non-event. And I was thinking, like, this should have been a lot harder. I should have ran into problems. Like, I'm running, monitoring, metrics, alerting, Longhorn, tons of, 60 or 70 different pods. And it was a non-event. All of a sudden, my Raspberry Pi, now I have a multi-architecture Kubernetes cluster at home, and all I did was run a couple of commands, and it's fantastic. So super duper easy, super easy. Anyways, I could talk about that stuff all day, but thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. You guys, all right? Any ats? I'm gonna skip through them real quick, because you guys are definitely figuring that out. It looks like a thread, but Twitch and threads. Ugh, I wish they would revert that change. Cherry pick that change out and delete it, because it's so hard, at least for me, to read. I don't know if it looks any different for you. They've been slowly making changes. I get why they're doing it, but it's super hard for people to. I don't know. Maybe it looks different on their clients. Anyways, I'm complaining. So Galactic Avenger. Hi all. Hi Tim. So Home Lab. All right. I have a long overdue project for me. That's an IoT VLAN. All right, I went through that. I still struggle with that. I'm not going to lie. Overdue project for me is an IoT VLAN running pfSense and Unify. Not really a question, just a comment. Hopefully I'll find a quick how-to. Pretty sure you covered this on a video on YouTube. Let me grab a drink real quick. So honestly, to be completely honest, I haven't. I mention it all the, I'll throw it in there. I'll throw it in live streams. Like I do have an IoT VLAN, and it is dedicated to IoT stuff. And then I broadcast that IoT VLAN on my wireless network because that's then tied to that VLAN ID. And that's how wireless IoT devices connect. I also have some wired IoT devices that connect, and they're all segregated on that IoT VLAN, which works great until it doesn't anymore. So there are a few quirks with MDNS, and maybe you have a better MDNS solution than I do. I use the one that comes with my UDM, and so that helps me multicast those requests across different VLANs. So say like when my Windows machine needs to print, which is on the IoT VLAN, it can rebroadcast those packets across that VLAN and only that VLAN, only for specific devices. So those are some of the challenges you're going to run into. The place that I point everyone to all the time when they ask how to do this is it's my natural color. I think he even uses the acronym now. It's IMNC. So it's my natural color. As a YouTuber who has a lot of different tech videos, he has one that is like the holy grail when it comes to configuring your VLANs per network. He even shared his worksheet, his Google Doc with it. And so if you're ever thinking of doing this, watch that video. He has like a 4-part series. It's part 3. I think it's part 3. And I followed that guide exactly because I'm like, I'm not a network engineer, not a network administrator. I totally, I understand concepts, and I could probably do it if I wanted to figure it out. But I was like, here's a guy who's already figured it out. Seems like he knows what he's doing. He's sharing all this information. And it was just really a step-by-step of not only how to do something, but why to do something. And so I followed that. Exactly. I added 2 or 3 more VLANs outside of there, but mine is set up very similar to his. I had to, make changes where I needed to, and you will too, depending on your environment. So anyways, if you're that long overdue project of having an IoT VLAN, it's going to take some time, and it might be a little bit painful, but it's so awesome once you get it. Cause now you're just like, you know what, my IoT VLAN, that's just like one big IoT party. Like you guys go party over there, and if, my Philips Hue, whatever, gets hacked, sure, you could probably then communicate with other IoT devices. Presumably they're locked down in some form and fashion, but you're not getting over to my VLAN, to my secure, my multiple trusted networks over here. And it's just a huge peace of mind after you do that. I will say though, so outside of doing that, the other painful part is it's going to be like reconfiguring all those devices. So I have a ton of Wemo devices. I have Philips Hue devices. It's going to be going to that device, hard resetting that device, reconnecting it to your new IoT network, and giving it the new, SSID and the new password. And I highly recommend having different passwords for all your wireless networks and having them be totally random too, and then also your guest network. So while you're on this, I know this is the definition of scope creep, but you should probably do that too. That's something that I picked up that I learned too, is all of my wireless networks. And you're probably like, why do you have 4 or 5? Well, because they're tied to VLANs, and that's what you'll learn when you start to do this. Is that your wireless networks are tied to VLANs, and then so I have different types of devices that I need to segregate that traffic, and so those connect to different wireless VLAN or wireless networks, then are on different VLANs, and then all of that traffic is separated. Anyways, and then on top of that, use different random passwords for all of those wireless networks. Don't use something guessable or the same. And then after that, I would highly recommend, create a brand new one. Start fresh. I know that kind of stinks. So that all of your current devices forget the existing one, so then you don't have any left over, or just slowly migrate. Anyways, that's scope creep, the definition of scope creep. So, but you don't have to do all that. Take it one step at a time, and it's really not that hard. But I will say that the most challenging thing then for me was, it's the time to do it. It's walking up to every light switch and resetting it and rejoining it to a new network. Or, hard resetting this device that I don't even remember. I set up like 2-3 years ago and joined it to the network. And he's been partying on my main LAN for a long time. And now he's going to party on the IoT VLAN. And it's like, what app did I use again to configure this thing to get it on the right network? So, a lot of hard resetting stuff there. But, it's super fun once you get it. Yeah, and I would also recommend is, give them good names. And if you can do aliases somehow, somewhere, if you're using Unify, give them good aliases and do it as you add them. Because right now I have like 23 Wemo devices. I have no idea which one's which. That's where I messed up. Like as I added new devices to my network, I name them, give them an alias. You don't have to create a CNAME or DNS or anything like that, but an alias in the system you use if you're using Unify Network Controller, because that makes it easier. Because right now I'm just like, I have a bunch of, Mac hardware addresses, Mac addresses. I'm like, I have no idea what 18CED444 is. Is it this one right here? And so, while it might not be important to you, there might be a day where you're like, okay, well, like I need to know, exactly what that device is because I need to do something with it. Anyways, moral of the story is I don't have anything. Check out It's My Natural Color. He has, it's the definitive guide that I send everyone to when they ask about VLANs. I mean, Craft Computing just did one recently too on just, setting them up and talking about VLANs. Fantastic. Good. Great to do. Good. Check that out too. If you want something longer, that's going to be really in depth, that's talking through step by step of how to set it up. That's where I went. And he's got a Google workbook too. You can just download it, and you just plug in some numbers to manage your networks. I don't know. Super cool. Anyways, NQND, thanks for sharing your passion. Hey, no problem. Yeah, I thanks for enjoying it. Yeah, I tell everyone this, but I've been doing this stuff for a long time. I only recently decided to share it publicly. And one of the reasons why was because I wanted to meet more people who do things like this, and so that was one of the reasons why I did it. So yeah, thank you also for existing and finding me. So I appreciate it. Get wrecked. I do this every time, but I apologize. I should know the right way to pronounce it. My employer used Lotus Notes and same time. Good times. Yeah. Lotus. Oh man. I don't know anything about it other than the horror stories people tell me about Lotus Notes. I think when I got into the workforce, the first place I worked at already had Exchange. And I think they, and then when I started there, they were, that was the horror stories of the old days. And it's still someone I work with is like, yeah, it was a good product though. Like, I hear, I hear the goods and bads about it for sure, but I never had an experience with it directly. Just-in-time vacuuming, I like it. Yeah, Penguin Airlines, yeah, JIT, like the just-in-time compiler. It is just-in-time vacuuming, just-in-time leaf blowing, just-in-time weed whacking. Once you go battery-powered for stuff where you hit a button to turn it on, then you realize, like, yeah, you don't have to hold the button down when you're not doing things. And that's also like just a constraint too, because if the battery wasn't going to wear out in 15 minutes, I probably would have had the thing hard, flipped to on the whole time. It's how I learned the first time. Like, well, I can't vacuum like that anymore. Just need to press the button when I need suction. It totally makes sense now, but just not what you're used to. All right, you guys are still troubleshooting that. Thank you so much for helping out with that. Klasnikov. That's what I'm going with. Kolesnikov. I need to say it like 5 times, so I got it. I think I got it now. Thanks for helping me out with that. I appreciate it. Bigsby, hey Tim, how's it going? Included null. I need to learn how to set up VPN server on my server so that I can access services on it. Maybe set up routes locally so only traffic to the server goes through the VPN and not everything else. Video idea. Oh yeah, maybe. I've my VPN has changed over time, and so I'm still not 100% sold on the one I'm using now. So maybe if yes, I probably should. But like most of my videos, they're the project I'm working on this week or last week. If and I usually work on the things that are either too painful or really exciting, and so my VPN now isn't too painful because I don't go anywhere. Because the pandemic, I'm sure, once things start to get back to normal in the coming months, I'll be like, yeah, this is way too painful. And so look for one. So yeah, it's funny. I was just thinking that the other day. I'm like, I have this iPad that just sits on a desk and is plugged in, like it got zero use this year because the pandemic, and, my VPN too. I've just kind of like just ignored it because I'm like, when do I use it for my phone? It's not that painful now. That's all going to change here soon. So I'm super excited about it too. But yeah, good point. It is on my backlog. So I keep a backlog of videos that I keep around. They end up in Trello. And if I start to add enough comments to them and they start to take a life, then I start to create them, which really is just the project that I'm working on anyways. Yeah, thank you guys so much for helping out with that. Billy Quizboy. Hi, Tim. Are you still using guacamole? I was going to set it up yesterday, but Onzu stopped working on this image. Yeah, so I still am. I still have it running. And I noticed that he has deprecated the repo. So that doesn't mean that the Docker image is deprecated. It just means the repo is. You can still pull the Docker image down. Yeah, I noticed that he deprecated too. Someone mentioned to me. I'm not sure why. I'm hoping someone forks it soon. And as soon as someone forks it, I'll switch the image over to that. Obviously, I'll look at the code change after the fork and see, what's being put in there. I'm not just going to go after the first fork right away. But the existing image still works. So yeah, that's I'm in a holding pattern right now. Not switching off the OSNU one because, all right, I do this every time, but it's OSNU. Or is it Onzu? I do this every time. I'm not switching off of it. I'm still going to use the existing one. Just wait and see. And then if not, I'll figure something else out. I have a feeling like so many people enjoy that product that he created, which was that Docker container. I'm certain someone will fork it and take over. And he even has like I think an issue out there that basically says like, hey, I'm looking, well, I wasn't looking for more maintainers. That's why I'm kind of interested why it was deprecated. Maybe didn't have time, maybe, who knows? I'm not going to speculate why. But I think there was a note basically saying like, hey, if you're a good fork of this, I'll put it in the README. Until then, let me know. So that's, I'm in that same holding pattern too. Going to use the old one until then. Penguin Airlines, Billy Quizboy. Yep, he had a video about setting it up. Yeah, for sure. Kalashnikov. All right, that should be fine. Might want to be a KVM, QAMU bug. All right, you guys are still troubleshooting that. Thank you so much for the help. Bigsby, Techno Tim, and chat. What are your opinions on Cisco UCS M22 M3 1U server with 2 Xeon 8 core, 2.6 gigahertz, 64 gigs of RAM for $70.94? Good deal. Is that a good deal? I don't know. I don't know what the Cisco UCS M22, I don't know at the top of my head. I can tell you how I determine if something's a good deal. I'd look to see what I can buy it now on eBay, what I can buy it on Amazon. Obviously, it's going to be way more expensive there because used stuff usually is. Check all the other, secondhand marketplaces and then just make a decision. And then I also compare it to similar products. So then I go out and say, okay, well, what is the Dell version or the HP version of whatever it is, go for with similar specs. Obviously the CPU is not going to be exactly the same, but the specs that you care about, drive bays, CPU sockets, RAM slots, those types of things, and compare from there. So I don't know off the top of my head, especially I don't know in euros, but it doesn't matter. Roughly the same in dollars. But that's, the comparison that I do. Penguin Airlines, UCS might be tricky to run at home. Access to firmware and stuff could be tricky without support contract. Yeah, good call. Didn't even consider that. Yeah, exactly what you said. Don't see them much in home labs. Solid machines though. Thank you, Penguin Airlines. Cracks. Symptoms are slow GPU, impossible to gaming on Parsec, lags soon, moves mouse. Keyboard is fine though. Whole VM feels sluggish overall. Gaming is more or less whole purpose for that VM for friends while they're away. If their netbooks isn't cutting it, they want to play most basic. Yeah. So I don't know. Obviously, this obviously seems, pretty local to you or your hardware, because I've been running Windows VMs in Proxmox for over a year, and I passed through my GPU through to it, and zero problems. Zero performance problems. Like I always mention, I have things that run 24/7, 365 that are doing GPU pass-through stuff, even right now that, I haven't experienced any of this. So this is very, very odd and very rare. That's why I say, man, pull out all the sticks of RAM but one and fire it up and shut down all your virtual machines and run that test again. I know it seems super draconian, and maybe you've done it before, but yeah, I'm out of answers. Bigsby, well, I might have to pass in and stay on the lookout. Thanks, Penguin Airlines. But to be honest, I might just try more RAM in the current machine. Oh, there you go. Face reveal is actually Code Miko. Yeah, no. This is me. This is my face. I mean, maybe I'll tear my face off. No, this is me. That would be awesome. It would be awesome if this was a deep fake this whole time. Deep fakes of like the deep fakes of what's his name on TikTok. Oh my gosh, how crazy is that? Yeah. Anyways, that'd be kind of weird. But I don't know who I'd deep fake, like myself, or maybe someone else could deep fake me. That'd be awesome. All this time. Koloskenorf. I'm going to slaughter this every time until you tell me. Splunk is expensive though, hence Greylog Elk Stack. Yeah, I totally agree. Like, I think Splunk had like a 500 meg cap. I don't know if this is still the case. I mean, I used it in my home lab for a long time. They had a 500 meg cap on logging per day. It would process, and then after that, it just wouldn't do anything. Yeah, I'm not saying it's a good solution. I'm just glad they're still around because it was one of the first ones that I used. And in the beginning, I had a hard time generating enough logs for it, and then I installed a syslog endpoint on Windows, or syslog agent on Windows, and sent it all to Splunk and told it info level messages, and I totally surpassed that 500 gigs of logs today per process. But yeah, I totally agree. Like I don't use it anymore. I'm just glad that like people still mention it. I don't know, maybe I just have fond memories of using it. Because it was at the time it was pretty advanced. It was pretty nice to use. It was I had full text search on logs, and it's like, yeah, no one else is doing this. I'm talking over 10 years ago. Bigsby, has anyone ever seen Tim and Miko in the same room? Exactly. Yeah. No, it's me, maybe, kind of. I saw the video, but Onzu said he stopped working on it. Yeah, for sure. I think I mentioned that already. Koloskenorf. I'm gonna. Here we go. It's like Kalashnikov. Okay. Oh, it's like Kalashnikov. Oh, see, even that one's so hard for me to pronounce. Kalashnikov. Kalashnikov. Yeah, it's so hard. You should spell it phonetically. I'll nail it then. The Swedish translation is, are you called hot dog, pretty much. Are you called hot dog? All right. Can I just say hot dog? That works. I like it. VLANs can be a real turd to set up to get working correctly. Yeah, I totally agree. But that's why I follow it's my natural color. Because, like I said, I don't think he's networking. I mean, he does a lot of networking. Don't get me wrong. I don't know if it's his day job. But either way, he's a good teacher. And he had really thought out what he was going to do in that video, which I can appreciate. And it's don't get me wrong, it's a long video, but it's one of the few really long videos that I watched and studied and watched multiple times before I did it. Because once you take your network down or pieces of your network down, it stinks, And I did a 2-part move, which I should have just done a 1-part move. But my 2-part move was change the hardware, get everyone on here, and then it was VLANs afterwards. And I arguably should have set some of that stuff up before because I did the work twice, but yeah. It's pretty awesome. Galactic Avenger, excellent tip thing. Check him out. Yeah. I can't. I recommend him every time. Someone's like, "How do I set up VLANs on UDM or anything like that?" I'm like, check it out. He's got the best one out there that I've seen so far. Achels, do you mind? Do you mind? I thought I said, do you mind? Do you mind? If so, do you use Mining OS? I don't mind. I do not mind. No, I don't mind. I know it's there are so many aspects to it. And I've looked at certain things, and I have a couple of buddies who do. I just haven't yet. It sounds interesting to me, but I feel like there's a barrier to entry, at least for me, and maybe it's knowledge, and so I don't have a good intro yet to mining. I mean, I could spin up something and burn through some stuff with all my cores, but I don't really know what I'm doing, and so I need to educate myself a little bit on it first too. Because it sounds fun, sounds cool. Even if I just did it for a month and learned, I think would be worth it. But I need an intro course to the types of mining and how to configure it properly, because it sounds awesome. Billy Quizboy, thanks Tim. I assumed that the image was still there. I was more concerned about the lack of security updates and might never remember to recheck. Yeah, 100% agree. 100% agree. That's and you're already on top of it. If you know it's there and you know it's deprecated, yeah, you're looking and doing the right things. I mean, it's exactly why, like, a lot of times when I look at Docker images, I look at the last pull, I look at the last tag or the last push. Same with commits. When was the last commit? And it's not just because I like things fresh. It's because I want to know that, you know, one, someone's still working on it, and two, you know, it's getting patched or security updates. Especially when it comes to something like that, the OSNU one, where it's, you know, if it was, I mean, I'm not gonna, I mean, if it were code itself, you know, or, you know, there might be just dependencies in there that need to be updated, which is easy to do. But once it comes to a Docker container, you know, some of those dependencies are coming with the container. And so if nothing's rebuilding that container, you know, on a regular schedule, and patching that base image, I don't know if it's Ubuntu or what they're using for the base image, might be BusyBox or some other small, tiny Alpine OS, but that needs patching too. So that's part of, you know, Docker, I guess, lifecycle stuff that people need to care about if they're working on stuff. So anyways, I totally agree. I totally agree. As soon as I know anything about it, you know, I have that repo starred. If I hear anything, I'll let you know. I mean, the other way is to just go back and not do it through a container, which is, you know, kind of the hard route, but Craft Computing's got a great video on how to do it on a virtual machine. And so if you want to switch from a container to a virtual machine, Craft's got an awesome one on it too. Jeff does. But you know, I'm still running a container. I'm hoping someone will fork it and carry on the torch for sure. Let's see. Those are responses. You need to set the dots yourself. Okay. Including all. Did anyone else just hear eBay notification sound? Oh, it was my phone. No. I don't even know what that sounds like. I don't know what most of the sounds on my phone sound like because my phone has been muted for years. Like, I don't hear anything. I don't hear texts go off. I don't hear any of that. I should turn it back on. But I have every notification, like the sound piece, muted. So I don't know what any notifications sound like anymore. It's actually kind of nice. I don't know what the eBay one sounds like at all. I should. Swedish guy who inspired me to get into Mumble. I will build the RPi device now with local server running. Yeah, for sure. Nice. Yeah, I'm trying a combination of, nice. Yeah, I'm trying a combination of his work and Tim's for K3s Pi cluster. Nice. Yeah, dude, Penguin Airlines got some stuff coming for you, just for Penguin Airlines. It's coming soon. Swedish. I've been also having some issues using UFW and Docker where containers are not able to make more requests outside of my Docker host. Anyone been having similar issues? No, I mean, I personally, I haven't. I wish I could help. Mr. Greisen. Greigen. Oh man, so many hard names to pronounce. I apologize. Mr. Grigson. That's what I'm going. Kalashnikov, hot dog, AK-47. You can check pronunciation on wiki equals AK-47. I'm so confused right now. I thought we were talking about hot dog. Now we're talking about AK-47. Kalashnikov, like the AK-47 automatic Kalashnikov 1947. Oh, is that what the AK comes from? I never even considered what the acronym was for. I like hot dog better. Can I say hot dog? I'm going to say hot dog. Swedish. Nice hash is a good way to get into mining. Thank you. Nice hash. Got to remember this. Really simple to set up and basically takes care of everything for you. All right. Can it be containerized? I'm sure it can. Interesting. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. Achels, with the GPU, you should have a play. Yeah, my 3090. Yeah, I should. Maybe I can spin it up on Docker and give it a check. Give it a second. I feel like something like that, like I would then end up putting into my Kubernetes cluster and take advantage of my NVIDIA workstation card that I have in there. Totally blanking the name. I haven't said that name in so long. But anyways, I have video cards in my servers too. This server, this workstation, I don't run 24/7. Probably I could, but it uses a lot of power. Now that I have this card in here. Included null, I think IMNC, so it's my natural color, works in a cinema or something. He has mentioned it a few times. He's also a lighting engineer. I hired lights from him once. Oh, included no. Oh yeah, this is full circle. Because I think it was you or someone in the channel once before when I mentioned that said, I know who that guy is. And I was like, dude, tell him he makes great videos. I think it's full circle now. It's been so long. But yeah, I totally agree. If he doesn't do anything with networking at all, and this is just his hobby, I love it even more. I love it even more, for sure. Sunza, 123, my phone hasn't had a sound since getting a Samsung watch. Yeah. So I have an Apple Watch, and it's a good point. Yeah, because most of the time, this will vibrate now. Yeah, good call. That's probably half the reason why I don't hear any notification at all. Like, it's totally, like, even this is silence. So everything I have is silence. I'm like, I'm not going to be, these notifications aren't going to run my life now. It's less of that and just not disturbing others. And plus, like, I don't know. I generally turn notifications off for most things. Discord, Slack, email. I mean, outside of meetings. Twitch, you name it, because it's not that I don't care. It's just such a distraction. So I'm more on the, I'm more on the pull than a push. If I use a service or an app or something that gives me value, I'm going to come back, right? Like, I don't need Twitter notifications on when someone mentions me, because I know that I'm going to check Twitter a couple of times per day. So anyways, that goes into like the whole, psychology of notifications. But yeah, I turn all of mine off, most of visual ones too, because I'm just like, yeah, if I care enough about this app, I'll be back. But there are some exceptions, like you mentioned, for an eBay notifications where it's really important. So those ones I usually set up an email and then set up an email, mark it as important, so then that my Gmail client will give me a notification. But anyways, and there's so many ways you can do it. But yeah, I'm kind of on the same route. Penguin Airlines, LO, my phone is muted most of the time also. I still love the mute slider on the OnePlus. Nice, got to check it out. To go from mute to silent if you have a meeting or a movie. Yeah, and wasn't the whole big thing, like, for a while, like, you could turn your phone face down and it would silence, like, all of your notifications, and if it was face up, it wouldn't? I don't know if that's still a thing, but I remember that being, like, all the rage for a while, especially in enterprises. Like, people put their phone face down, no notifications, put it face up, they get notifications. I don't know if that's still a thing, but that's a super great idea, but doesn't work in your pocket. But in meetings, it works great. Hot dog. I'm going with straight hot dog. Techno Tim, I'm fine with hot dog, to be honest. All right. I owe it to you to research how to say it phonetically. If you could spell it phonetically for me, that would be fantastic. I just struggle when I get into SNIKORVs. If it was Japanese or Spanish or English, I would nail it. At least in my mind, I would nail it. But man, it's so hard for me to pronounce names that have clusters or consonant clusters that are not what I'm used to seeing. But I'm all for it. Just need it phonetic. Hot dog. I like hot dog though. Penguin Airlines, nice hash, does have a native container support. Cool. Awesome. Got to check it out. You can run easily, install it on Windows, or run Nice Hash OS in a Linux fork with some basic configuration, and it will benchmark your system and pick the best coin for you to mine based on your performance. And give you BTC balance to transfer to your wallet of choice. All right, I'm liking this. A nice hash OS. I feel like something like that, I really got to run bare metal. Like, if I want to get, I want to get like max performance, like remove like any type of abstraction or layers, but I'll have to check it out. So nice hash OS, or which is the OS, or they have a container for it. I probably play with the container at first just to see. I want to like monitor this thing in in kind of a sandbox. But thank you. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I'm getting excited now because I'm so glad you guys mentioned that. And then also I was, just showing my vulnerability. I don't know everything about everything. There's a lot of things, like I said, like this huge barrier of entry for me because I've never had experience with it. So thank you for recommending it. I'm sure there's a lot of people too, where they're like, a barrier of entry is just not even knowing where to start. And so hopefully there's someone around that can help you guys like you've helped me. So I appreciate it. Included note, my phone is usually silent, which is why I didn't expect to hear the eBay sound. I also have headphones on, so it was quiet. Yeah, for sure. Penguin Airlines, Techno Tim does not have. No, yeah, I do not. Wow, some follows in there. I apologize. I missed them. Paul Paulo Beckman. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. Diesel I Defects. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. And Ferner Dogmo. That's so hard for me to pronounce. Words are hard today. I don't know why. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. Thank you so much. Just finished adding aliases for IoT stuff in Unify. It looks so much better now. Hey, awesome. Do it. Especially, awesome. Well, you're well on your way to moving to IoT VLAN, or just in general. The aliases in any system you use, do it ahead of time. Because like I said, like I had mine all, and so the real kicker was I had all of my, I think I have 15, 16 Wemo devices throughout my house. I had them all named in the app. And so my system of record was always the app. I go back to the app, I'm like, yeah, there's garage door, there's gaming lights, there's, ceiling fan in the office, this one here, like sweet, it's all there. So I never set up an alias in UDM because I thought, or anywhere, whatever you use, never set up an alias because it's like, I know where to get this stuff. Well, then you forget and do something like I did and create my IoT VLAN where you have to hard reset everything to where the app forgets that the device was ever even added. And then you have no reference at all. And then I don't know why, Wemo, this is so dumb. They don't list your MAC address in the app anywhere. I'm like, how are you not going to do this? How are you not going to do this? So since I went through and reset all my devices, then I'd see them populate all in UDM, all, and then their name in the system is their MAC address, and I had no idea. So anyways, yeah, you're well on your way to taking care of this. Wemo though, they totally just put the MAC address in the app. That would make life so much easier because then I would go through, set up all my aliases, and I'd be like, awesome. Now I know which one is the ceiling fan. Why is it chatting so much to this, endpoint? And another thing is if you do that, it's kind of up to you. You might want static IPs too on your IoT VLAN. And the only reason why I say that maybe you might want to do that is because the host names are always weird. And so if you don't set up aliases, a lot of them might be localhost or whatever the Linux system name is of that host, because all of them are running Linux. Or you might have weird ones like I saw this morning, Red Hat client. I'm like, who is in my network? Like I was freaking out today. Like I saw one on UDM, connection alert, Red Hat client. I'm like, what? Who's on my IoT network? Some of the things that, you freak out, but, and I'm like thinking, okay, like did I forget the password? Did I not set a password in IoT? What's going on? And it ended up being my Samsung TV, and they got some update. And so I don't know why my Samsung TV now identifies itself to UDM Pro as Red Hat client. And it's the same with my SteamOS device. Same thing. It's just weirdness. So anyways, set those up ahead of time, or if you're going to do static IPs, you don't necessarily need to do it because then you can either do DNS or aliases there too. And I think if you set them up with static, you're kind of forced to set an alias too in UDM. So anyways, it's super fun stuff, but a lot of admin stuff. But yeah, it's super fun. Ghosty. One side note for NiceHash, they take a bigger cut than directly mining with a large pool. Oh, good to know. I think I need, if I do start doing it, I need to do something to like get my feet wet. And so if someone takes a little bit bigger cut, it's totally fine in the beginning until I kind of start navigating stuff. But yeah, good call out. So NiceHash, they take a bigger cut than directly mining with a large pool. Good call. 0.6 mil. 0.6 mil. I like it. I'm new to all this server virtualization stuff. Currently running FreeNAS on a Dell T1650. Feel like it should have run it virtualized through Proxmox than other VMs from there. Wait, well, let me break this down so I can make sure. Feel like I should have run it virtualized through Proxmox and then other VMs from there. Oh, I see what you mean. FreeNAS. Gotcha. Yeah. So turning it around. So you're running FreeNAS on top of hardware and you're thinking now, like, I probably should have virtualized this thing and then, run. Yeah. So basically flip it upside down. That's, it's going to be up to you. If you are thinking about making the switch, there are some considerations to make. you know, and the things that I run into that are a pain sometimes, because I've been virtualizing my TrueNAS since day one. I've never run it bare metal. It's always been virtualized. You know, and some of the pain points for me is, when I reboot my hypervisor, my whole entire, you know, solution for network attached storage goes down. And so for me, that means iSCSI's down, NFS is down, SMB's down, MinIO or, you know, object storage is down. So those are the things you got to kind of think about. And then, you know, it's a little bit of inception too, if then you're using, you know, that Proxima, you know, that FreeNAS storage for Proxmox. It's a little bit of inception. So there's a little dance you kind of got to do every now and then. But Proxmox handles is fine. It's like, I don't have NFS access right now. That's fine. As soon as it comes up, you have access to it because, you know, it becomes a guest on that server. But it's totally going to be up to you. And I totally wouldn't rule out running it bare metal, especially with TrueNAS Scale coming out soon. I mean, I say soon. I think they had it slated for April or something, 2021, some kind of final release. I think they're in alpha. It's pretty soon. And so, you know, once they go that route, they're taking the gloves off now because they're going all in with Linux, going with KVM for a hypervisor. They're going to do Kubernetes and Docker native now on the OS. So, I mean, I wouldn't rule out bare metal just yet. But, you know, if you want to switch, totally fine. That's how I run mine. But yeah, I think gloves are coming off when they switch over to when they release, I should say release, because they're still going to develop the old TrueNAS, the other TrueNAS, I guess I should say. But when TrueNAS Scale comes out, we're really going to see a lot of innovation there. And so, you know, you'll be able to run, you know, if you're still bare metal, that means you'll be able to run, you know, KVM. So you'll be able to run your hypervisor or your virtual machines on there. You'll be able to run your Docker stuff bare metal. You'll be able to run your Kubernetes bare metal because they're going for this, I think, almost like hyper-converged solution, which they've already been doing before. Anyways, I'm excited about it. I'm not saying I probably gave you way too much information. I'm super excited about it because I'm going to wait and see. I'd love to spin it up now. It's just not ready for me yet. So, yeah, we'll figure it out. Let's see. Anyways, I probably give you way too much information, especially because you're newer to the virtualization scene. But you know, I wouldn't change for the sake of change unless you want to learn. And going the opposite way is going to take a little bit of ingenuity because TrueNAS runs its storage on ZFS. You're going to have to give now that virtual machine direct access to disks so it can create a ZFS pool. And so you can do that with controllers or individual disks. And so it makes it a little more complicated, but you know, if you're willing to take it on, I've been doing it for, I want to say years, plural, but I think it's coming up at like a year and a half or something. I've been running it, which is all I've been running TrueNAS. Penguin Airlines, it does not have container support natively. Thank you for that clarification. Bummer. I got to look into it for sure. Thank you. 0.6 mil and hello. And longtime YouTube viewer, first time Twitch watch. Hey, appreciate it. 0.6 mil. I hope that answers some of your questions. I probably left you with way, more questions than you started out with. But you go with what you feel comfortable with. I usually choose my hypervisor first. That's my first choice. Anytime, I'm thinking about a new infrastructure, architecture, hypervisor is always my, hardware is going to be one, but usually I'm thinking about, okay, what's going to be my foundation for everything I run? And that's my hypervisor. So I usually don't start with something that also does, virtualization. I start with something that mainly does virtualization. So yeah, but totally up to you, man. Penguin Airlines, I made a little over $500. Dude, that's good. With mining my old GPUs on a nice hash this winter. It's too warm recently though, so shut everything off again until late next fall. That's awesome. $500. So I mean, is that profit? Is that net? Gross? Like, I'm curious about the energy then to do it. But dude, I was thinking pennies, man. I was thinking pennies. I need to get on this. I could use some passive income like that. That's awesome though, man. Thanks for sharing. Ghosty, question: do you run FreeNAS inside of Proxmox or do you run it on a dedicated machine? Yeah, I kind of touched on that a little bit. So You got hints of that. So I've been virtualizing mine, and maybe you were able to pick up those nuggets. I've been virtualizing my TrueNAS when it was FreeNAS since the beginning. I've never run it bare metal because once I picked up my Dell R710, I knew it was a beast of a machine, and I knew it could handle everything I could throw at it possible that I need to run. And so I just decided, like, I don't want yet another machine that's always on, another point of failure, I'll have to have redundant everything for when I have, this box right here, which was my R710. And so that's the game I played in my head for a long time. It was never like, obviously I want to build more servers. It's awesome, or PCs or anything. I love building computers, I guess I should say. But I always play that game like, okay, so if I'm doing this for real and it's going to be, if it's going to be storage, I'm going to need, probably maybe not, arguably not dual processors, but I'm going to need, RAM. I'm going to need lots of disks. I'm going to maybe need dual power supplies. I mean, arguably I don't really. A spare one on the side in case something goes wrong is nice. And that's kind of all I use my existing ones for now, because, that rarely do they ever die. They do. Do I need dual NICs? So that whole entire evaluation, I was just like, well, if I have a server right now and I just virtualize it, it becomes another, whatever, cow in my cattle of virtualized servers. And so that's where I was just like, okay, I'm always virtualizing until I have a reason not to. And then, I take it a step further, and now I'm containerized unless I have a reason not to. So it's containerize if I can. If I can't, then virtualize. And if I can't, then it's bare metal. And it's rarely, ever bare metal. It's only if it's an OS that I need that I can't virtualize for whatever reason. But that's the thought process that goes through in my head. So yeah, I've been virtualizing it for a long time. I said this earlier, I've never ever run it bare metal, ever. Not to say that's wrong. Do I ever consider it? Heck yeah, I do, for those reasons I mentioned earlier. It being a guest on my hypervisor means that if I reboot my hypervisor, then everything loses access to storage. And sometimes that's okay. And I built, I have workloads that are kind of resilient to it. If they're Docker containers, they might, reboot in a loop until it's done and back up. On my Plex server, it's in a Docker container and it kind of freaks out too. And then the host it's on loses all of its mounts. So it's kind of painful. But the way I look at it is that at some point I'm going to have to reboot my TrueNAS server anyway, right? I need to apply updates, or I need to take it down, or any reason why I need to reboot it. So then I started thinking, well, I'm never going to totally solve that problem unless I, go all out and have, just a storage cluster, which I'm not going to do at home, maybe with TrueNAS Scale. And that's when I realized I'm okay with it. I'm okay. I just need to make sure that my services that depend on it are resilient enough to reconnect when it comes back up, because I don't have a great solution for that right now at home. That won't cost like $1 bajillion. But yeah, hopefully that sparks some ideas about why, or maybe how it applies to you. Good fun. All right, Mr. Grigson. I already set a static IP just to keep everything in one range. Also using separate SSID for easier filtering. Nice. Yeah, you're well on your way. Anyway, time to go to sleep. It's almost midnight in Poland. Have a nice weekend. Yeah, you are well on your way to having your IoT VLAN up and working just fine. Get wrecked. I had a scare with the first quarantine when I saw Amazon device on my network. I don't own any Amazon devices. Then found out it was a micro I was working on for work. I do embedded C and C++, was learning about TCP IP at the time. Yeah, I freak out. I'm like, I check my Unify logs and I have alerts on for new clients that connect, but they just appear in a list. And so I should turn it on immediately so then I know. But man, I freaked out a little bit this morning. There's another other random one, Asus PC. And I'm like, and it's on my IoT network. And I'm just like, okay, absolutely no Asus PC. Like my PC right here is mainly Asus board, there's no other Asus PCs here. So I'm like, okay, who's registering this? And so, I got to play this game again okay, now I need to figure out what it is, what it's doing. I can already see what it's contacting, but I have no clue which device it is. I want to force disconnect it and just wait for something not to work and be like, oh, that's what it is. But I don't want to do that because I'm pretty positive no one's hacked my IoT network. It's just me freaking out. But at the same time, you know, there's no reason why anything connected should be called ASUS PC. And once I figure it out, I'm going to set the aliases. And so that's what I was doing again today. I'm like, okay, this TV, that was Red Hat, whatever, Red Hat machine. I know you're the TV, and my Steam Link device. Okay, I know you're, you know, Steam Link. So I set aside about 20 minutes today where I'm like, I'm drilling through every device connected. I'm going to give it an alias. And if I don't know, I'm not going to label it so that I can, you know, continue to push forward. I should have done this when I set it up. Sunza, I was able to add a firewall to my home lab soon. Oh, I was going to add a firewall to my home lab soon. I'm probably going to get Fortinet since it's what mostly used at my work, so it would be good to know. Yeah, I totally agree. I'm hear a lot about Fortinet. Yeah, it's a great choice. Buddy down the street, he's like, hey, I got Fortinet certified, and now I have a free Fortinet. I'm like, that's awesome. But yeah, I agree. Like it's always nice to use something at home that you use at work. You know, but that can go both ways. Sometimes it's nice to use things that you don't want to use at work. So yeah, awesome. Let me know how it goes. I've only heard good things about Fortinet only because I don't hear a lot about Fortinet. I only hear the good stuff of the people who are excited about it. So yeah. Penguin Airlines, it depends on your power cost versus your hash rate. But for me, anything is a net positive during the winter because I'm gonna pay for heat in my house, so I may as well get some return on it. Yeah, that's a good call. Good call too, for sure. Yeah, it's a good point. I know my basement's gonna warm up a little bit with all the stuff I have running during the wintertime. It's great because I mean I have an unfinished basement, so it's just like whatever. But during the summertime, you can really tell that heat, you know, is it's getting a little warmer down there than it should. But yeah, for sure, heat the house. Yeah, I would love to have just have some kind of air return that takes all my hot air and cycles it into somewhere else to heat my water or something. I would love it. Maybe next house. I don't know. I would love to just like cool my servers with water that then I'm gonna use to heat something else. Totally. Cracks, would you consider checking out OpenSense and do a video series about it since there's way too little videos about it for things like traffic shaping and QoS? Possibly. I mean, I think for things like that, I'd have to switch to it. You know, for me to really dive in, to look at, you know, some router, some firewall, and really invest in it. Yeah, I'd have to be using it. Otherwise, it's really hard for me to dedicate that time into something. And so, not off the table. I used to use OpenSense a long time ago. I bounced back and forth between pfSense, OpenSense, Sophos XG. You know, I've been everywhere with network firewalls for a long time, virtual appliances. And for me, they've been virtual for a long time too. So not totally against it. It'd just be hard for me to jump back in and really put it through its paces without actually using it in my real environment. But yeah, not off the table. Achilles, good to see you should make from your, good to see what you should make from your GPU. Yeah, I'm guessing that was a link. Yeah, Discord. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Share links in Discord. That would be fantastic. Let's see. I am gonna say I have this in the title, and every time I say maybe short in the title, like I end up going longer than I've ever gone before. But I am gonna ramp this one up really quick here in a little bit. So I'm gonna look for direct mentions. I feel like I'm close to the bottom. I am super close to the bottom. Anyways, I probably didn't even need to say that. If I just read fast enough, I would have known. Brain Bleach. In regards to the title, I'm trying to make a torrenting client in C#. My God, is it difficult? Yeah, I bet it is. I couldn't even imagine. I mean, doing networking stuff in general in C# is kind of okay. I've done some stuff, but I couldn't even imagine a BitTorrent client. I would take one and fork it, and hopefully it's written in C# already. May or may not be. I'm kind of doubting it. Hopefully, you're at the right level. I mean, with C# you can get access to sockets and everything like that, so it shouldn't be a problem. Like technically, the language, and the platform of .NET should support it. But oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine. Sounds like a great learning experience, but man, that's a pretty. It's it's pretty low level in .NET. You know, .NET's obviously higher than a lot of other languages, but that's some low level networking stuff. So it sounds awesome. Are you doing the client too and the UI? Because that's a lot. Sounds fun. Access BG. I'm working on Fortinet, but honest, go for WatchGuard. All right. I don't know WatchGuard. Ghosty. I currently also virtualize my TrueNAS on one of my Proxmox servers. But I'm playing with the idea of pulling all the storage for Proxmox servers and putting them together in a third dedicated TrueNAS. Are there things I need to think about? I don't think so. I mean, I kind of mentioned them before. So some of the things I mentioned before that you can avoid is what happens when, TrueNAS goes down, or you need to reboot it, or you need to patch it. So everything that's connected to it for storage just needs to have some resiliency. And it doesn't necessarily, unless you want to build in fault tolerance and have some kind of storage array. This is totally what TrueNAS scale is going after. But I would say make sure the services that are connected to it have some kind of resiliency. And so mine do. It's not the greatest. My Docker containers will freak out and restart until they connect. Totally fine. I think my virtual machines that mount them in NFS share, they don't recover gracefully. So usually I have to run the mount command again. I should probably schedule it or do something a little smarter than a draconian, cron job. I should probably react to it and schedule something to say, hey, check this, mount. If it's not mounted, then run the command. So those are just kind of things you'll have to worry about. Worst case scenario, then you just cycle the service or cycle the server manually yourself that connects to your share. So, it's not the end of the world, but those are kind of the things that I think about. If you are going to go with, physical, you're going to have to figure out something that has enough bays for storage. That's always a tough one for me too. I know Craft had a lot of different device types that you could get, either 1U or 4U. And since it's going to be, a server plus storage and not just a dumb disk shelf, I use the term dumb, loosely, because it is pretty smart, but it doesn't have a CPU or anything like that. If you're going to go that route, then you'll just have to make sure that you have enough bays for, 2024 or 2022 or 2023, do some planning on your storage and see how much you're growing, and then how many, disks will that require in the future. And then, subtract half of that storage space because it's going to ZFS or something else. So all the things you would normally do. You would just treat it like you're going to build one today, and what would you do there? And for me, some of the requirements are going to be that, like, how can I get, 12 disk bay? Right now I'm using 6 disks, and I have a 24 disk array. And it's like, well, do I always want a 24 disk array? Not really. Not really. Like, it's super cool, don't get me wrong, but I thought I was going to grow a lot faster than I am, and now I'm starting to think like, okay, maybe I can be smarter about my storage. And at the same time, I don't want 24 disks on all the time. It's going to use a lot of power and heat and all the things that, servers do. So at some point, I want to look to see if there's something I can do in the 6-ish bay or 12 bay. 6 bay would give me no more storage than I have now, which is not good. Not that I'm running out anytime soon, but in order to expand, I would have to just replace every disk and then have a temporary place where these 6 disks live until I, could make the move. Don't know. Those are all the things I'm still trying to figure out too. So mine's virtualized. If I ever make that change, I'll have to go through those same things too. And maybe I'll put something out there about it. Or Ghosty, if you do it ahead of me, let me know. Let me know where the dragons be, where the landmines are, because I haven't done it yet. Access. You're getting a lot more for free with WatchGuard than with Fortinet. Yeah, that's a good call. I'll have to check out WatchGuard. Don't know anything about it. On the topic of Fortinet firewall, I think they have an option to virtualize it as well. It's only active for 30 days before you need to rearm it, if I understood correctly. Awesome. Yeah, as soon as you mention Fortinet, like, people come out of everywhere and talk about it. That's awesome. Yeah, I like I said, I rarely hear about it unless it's the guy who lives down the street. Well, he just moved. Other than that, I rarely hear about it, but I'm super excited about it. I know they have lots of services and security built in, and lots of certifications you can get to be certified. And a lot of companies are using it. I think a lot of people, moved from Cisco over that, or they're a new company and they started with that. So it's super awesome. Okay, real quick. Brain Bleach, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. Welcome. That was probably, yeah, it was about 8 minutes ago. I apologize. Urky PG, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Groove Punk, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Nowland 47, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Oh, last one. All right, Munzie, last one. Any good way to run Kubernetes in a self-hosted Proxmox environment? It's like I planted you here in this channel. I promise I don't know who you are. Yeah, lots of great ways. I got a lot of good videos on them. So if you want to run Kubernetes in a self-hosted environment, and you want to run full-blown Kubernetes multi-node cluster, I would go K3S. I would build a K3S cluster. That's exactly what I have. And I don't mean to self-promote, but I guess I can self-promote my own channel, right? I got a ton of YouTube videos on it. So look me up on YouTube. I got one that it talks about just that, building an HA K3S cluster to self-Kubernetes at home. It's and then if you like Rancher, you can add Rancher. And if you want, to run multi-architecture stuff too, maybe I'll have something here for you soon. So that's, running servers along with pies in the same cluster. Who knows? Cats and dogs living together. It's going to be awesome. But hey guys, thank you so much. Man, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the great comments. Thanks for educating me on a lot of things that I'm not aware of. So I really appreciate that. I love it when I learn something. I do every time, but I love it when I take these nuggets back and then I get to go research. If I'm just like, ooh, I'm going to squirrel away all these nuggets from the stream, and then I'm going to go research them because I like to learn more about things that are, out here in Homelabville or in Networkville or in Serverville. Some things I don't get to do all the time, so I appreciate it. If you're, so if you're not part of the Discord server, a lot of people have mentioned it. I really, Tim's Nuggies, yeah, for sure. See you next week. Yeah, thank you guys. If you're not a member of our Discord community, we have a huge Discord community. I think we're almost at 4,000, which I think is amazing. But we have a Discord community that you can join. You can talk about these types of things, talk about other types of things, but we talk a lot about tech, high tech, low tech, anything that we want to talk about. There's a lot of good tech chit chat all day long. So if you have an idea or have a problem or have a recommendation or want to know if someone else has tried something else, join our Discord for sure, because there are a lot of people who have done a lot of different things in there. And a lot of people are super helpful in there. So I would love for you to join. If I could only type Discord correctly, I always miss the S for some reason. Discord. But there you go. So, hey, I will be back on Tuesday. I really appreciate it. I'll have something out. I mentioned it a few times. I'll have something out tomorrow as a video. So you should totally check it out. And I appreciate it, including Instapots. Yeah, we had a great conversation about Instapots the other night because I'm like, yeah, I could go on forever. But yeah, Instapots. I'm like, I have a rice cooker because I'm part Japanese and I've always eaten rice my whole life. And now Instapot comes out and I could like cook rice faster, but also make these whole entire meals. Like, do I get an Instapot or do I just cook it slower in a rice pot? I haven't figured it out yet. So a lot of Instapot fans. They come out of the woodworks anytime you ask these questions. Like people are like, yeah, I got an Instapot. Anyways, I'll see you Tuesday. If you need something, ping me on Twitter or Discord. I really appreciate you being here, and yeah, have a great weekend. Enjoy the weather wherever you are, and be good to each other. Take care.